And that is, as a connection live. Kia ora, g'day, welcome back everybody. Sunday. Got just some updates I thought I'd run through with people. First, thank you very much though to those that sent through a bunch of feedback. Some of you sent through messages via email. Didn't put them in the comments of the post that I'd put up, which is all good. So thank you for that. I think last count, as I have a look, there were 16 comments in there. I think 15 of those were feedback, suggestions, or just maybe some general comments in regards to the channel, the start, stop, continue. They requested I put on there the post to just get a bit of a gauge, a feel for what people might have wanted me to start doing, stop doing, and or continue doing. So I got a mix of feedback and results. I'll read out some of those. I won't worry about reading the people's handles because, like I said, some of these comments and feedback came via email, which is all good. But, the other 15, 16 or so comments, if people want to have a look, then they can have a look. I think some people did have a read of other people's comments before they dropped in some of theirs. And maybe some just had a read and couldn't be bothered, which is fine as well. Some of the stuff that I got back was have a green screen, background/studio type setup. There's a few other things. It'll look tidier. People aren't really interested in what you've got going on or how you live in the background. Okay, so I whacked up it's not a green screen, but a virtual screen for now. So yeah, noted. It can be a bit messy and chaotic and stuff at times, but green screen was one of those. Intro, outro improvement was interesting, and add a variety each year. So noted. Good point. We'll see how we go. I think maybe the outro. I think somebody did mention to keep the outro later on, but it's something that I've had for a while. I haven't done it on every video, but probably more than 90% of the videos that I usually do, the outro has been the same because it means something to me and to other people. What's this one? Next one was content, relevant and fresh, which is a good point. So a lot of the stuff, particularly the reactions, and I'll get to that too soon with some of the comments. Yeah, a lot of those are old in terms of videos and content and stuff, and I've had no issue doing that. Like I'll likely still do a lot of that stuff, not only because I've got a whole list of reaction requests that I'm way behind on or backlogged, but because I enjoy it. Like there's some interesting stuff in there that I like doing reactions to, so I'll probably do those. But I do like the comment. So this person sent through saying, it would be good if you were, being basically, I summarize this, being more up to date, essentially, with relevant content and fresh, current news events and that sort of thing. So I'll take that on board. That's an interesting one because I do actually stuff will pop up on my feed and I'll have a look, like a lot of the various Senate hearings and all that sort of stuff from the US, from Australia, from no, I haven't seen any in NZ, but maybe there have been some. And there's some interesting stuff in there, like the stuff in Belfast. Tragically, sadly, thankfully, I think the person is still alive, but the Sudanese immigrant that was looking to, by all accounts, was saying that he was potentially looking to behead the person that is fighting a young female that's been stabbed overseas again in the UK. Somebody walking along and stabbed her in the neck. I don't know if she's still alive. So some pretty horrific things happening, which are quite current, and they do pop up on my feed. I just either choose to watch them and then leave them and not worry about reacting to them, or or sometimes I don't see them at all. But noted, taken on board. One of the other feedback that came said, "Hey Joe, I like that I like the reaction. Sorry, but it would be good if you would give your perspective on some of the SF housewives stories that are floating around online. Who shot and killed Osama bin Laden, stuff from the Anti-Hero podcast, all of that stuff. Although it is sad to see from a quite professional perspective, it would be interesting and I think make for good viewing if you were to give your take. So I have had, and I think when I have lent into that space, albeit briefly, stuff that was sent to me about John Shrek McPhee, former Delta Force guy on the Sean Ryan Show, Tim Kennedy on the Sean Ryan Show, and Rob O'Neill and other things. Like I haven't really delved heavily into that space. But yeah, noted, bro. Thanks for the comment. Take the perspective. I think what's interesting about that is when I've reflected on and read your feedback and comments, with some other stuff as well that you provided, I've thought to myself, yeah, what was why have I pulled back from that? And I think, firstly, one is that it was sad to see from an SF community perspective that, yeah, that the term like desperate housewives or SF housewives and stuff has been used. I think the Aussies have used that as well over there in terms of what's been happening over there. So it's disappointing and sad from that perspective, which was probably the first standout. And the second was, I'd never served in those places, don't know some of the culture and background or the ins and outs. But at the same time, I figured, well, I'm reacting to stuff that I wasn't there at, that I wasn't a part of anyway. And so what's the difference? And I think, you know, yeah, I've taken that on board. So I guess I can still, well, not I can still, I'll still be me in terms of the reactions that I give, the thoughts that I decide to share, or the words that come out of my mouth in regards to it. Um, yeah, so noted, bro. Thank you for that. I will have a look. I might reconsider leaning into some of the other stuff from previous reaction requests that have been sent. Yeah, and just give my 2 cents perspective based on what it is that I'm seeing and hearing, like I have on other reaction videos. Another one here was live streams. Live streams limit what you say to that one video. More topic specific content, so it's easier for people to search up and potentially find. That's a summary of one of the comments that's actually in the comments of the post. So, really cool point. I think when I was doing the reintegration stuff, the 11 questions that came through on there, I'm pretty sure I said, man, these questions are so, like, I felt they were that well thought out that they probably deserve their own video. And then holy heck, I ended up just amalgamating them into 2 or 3 live streams. So this was a really good comment. Point noted, bro. I'll take it on board. Live streams limit what you say to that one video, more topic specific content, so it's easier for people to search up and potentially find. Yeah, so I need to do better at that. I think I've spoken on some of the lives. It's just been much more convenient and easier, time efficient for me to just, excuse me, do a live. Don't worry about doing any editing, excuse me, and then just crack on and then move on. But the whole reason for me asking the question in the first place, to those that might stop by here, the start, stop, continue, was like, one, I was curious, why why do people come along to the channel in the first place, have a listen to me yap on for ages? So that was interesting. And then two, trying to not being able to fully, I guess, put myself in the what's the name? Where's this? Sorry, I'll come back to that. Not being able to put myself fully in the consumer, the other person on the other end of the screen's perspective, and to save me guessing, I thought I'd just ask, hey, what should I start doing? What should I stop doing? What should I continue? Had a little disclaimer there for the blink and the bots that might come onto this, onto that, and then chuck some comments in there, which would probably still make me laugh. I would have read those out just like I'm reading through some of these right now, had there been some in there, but there hasn't been yet, which is surprising. So yeah, live streams limiting what I say. So I'll take that on board. Look to stop taking the easy way out and look to create some content, do the thumbnail, try to narrow it down and make it a little bit more specific. Actually, a lot of these comments, or if not all of them, I should say, yeah, that's what drove me to do the video recently, which uploaded last night, in regards to the former AFP detective superintendent David Craig, I think is his name, on Instagram, and him talking about how he believes ARIS had been set up. So I shared that video. Thought, oh yeah, it's been a little while since I've you know gone down this path of doing a video and doing a little bit of editing and then waking that up. So noted, take it on board. Provide a personal account of my experience. So this was from the same person, actually. They said words to the effect of, I actually haven't seen you provide a personal account of your experience while on the selection. I've seen your reaction to the SASR Search for Warriors. So that was interesting. comment requests, and I thought, oh yeah, actually, have I? I know I've done interviews and been asked about that, but I guess from a personal perspective, my take, maybe the build up to how I was feeling. I think a lot of people probably get an idea anyway from other stuff that I've mentioned: the anxiety, the fear, the um, I don't know about doubt, but maybe I guess so. I guess as I go through and potentially do a video, one for the NZ selection and one for the Australian selection, um, then maybe some more things may come out as I'm freestyling and spitballing in regards to selection itself. So yeah, that's a cool comment, suggestion, maybe request. So I've added that to the list, and I'll look to provide a more personal account and run through it in as chronological order as I can for selection. To be fair, the New Zealand one is way easier to remember in terms of the order, and I think for the most part the days, even though that one was before the Australian one. The Australian one, I think, because of that 21 days, like man, it's harder for me to recall each day and what happened, and I'm just not going to be able to recall each day. Whereas the New Zealand one, the structure is pretty much the same, and it'll be a lot easier. I think the pre-selection part of the NZ, like the 4 or 5 days prior to testing, I would struggle to recall stuff on there, but actual testing is pretty easy. So easy to recall, I should say. So we'll see how we go with that. This bit, I had two contradictory. One was in the comments, basically saying they like the channel as it is, don't change anything, just crack on. Another one said continue with the reaction videos, and another one said I'm not really a fan of the reaction videos. So they were honest. They said a bit more. They said it's not really their thing, but they like some of the other stuff with the information and content that I provide and other things, but not necessarily the reaction videos. So yeah, there seems to be more for the reaction videos than against at this stage. But yeah, noted, bro, the person that said they're not really a fan of the reaction videos, which is all good. Um, more entertaining content, the shorts videos, the shorts video voiceovers that you did were crack up. So yeah, I received a few comments of those saying, when are you going to do more skit, or not skit, but they use the word skit, but I took that in terms of the voiceovers that I was doing, the Meal Team Sixes and all that sort of stuff, and Gravy Seals, etc. So yeah, I actually enjoyed doing those too. So noted as well. I'll look to incorporate some of those. I think what's probably helpful for me, by and large, is, and I haven't gone back to those people yet that spoke about the voiceover videos and those providing a good laugh. I think what's helpful is if, and I've seen other people do it, if people are able to send through video clips or links that they see um, that they find are funny or that want me to do a voiceover on. I think that's well, it'll be helpful for me because then I don't have to spend as much time trying to scroll through and search for those types of videos to then whack a voiceover on, which I'm happy to do. But it's definitely a lot easier. It saves a lot more time when people send them through. I've seen, well, a few of those that I got sent were from a person on Instagram and said, hey, check out this channel. It'd be hard case if you did some videos to this person's content. So that's where I grabbed a lot of that stuff from. And it was just easier to whack it together because somebody pointed me in the direction to go in the first place. What's this? The next one was enjoyed hearing about the reintegration work/space, the nuances, the challenges, etc. More of that would be great. So yeah, that was interesting. I enjoyed, to be fair, answering the questions that were sent through. By no means am I an expert in reintegration, but really, man, I really learned a lot in that space, and I think there's massive opportunity for people that not only currently work in that space, but for people within the corrections system, probably particularly from national office perspective, corrections officers, whānau community leaders, etc. To, well, anybody and everybody to, get a bit more understanding of what that space is like. And so with some of the announcements that I'll mention at the end of running through this feedback, I'll try to shed some light on that. But yeah, cool that you enjoyed listening to me yap on about and trying to respond to some of the questions in the reintegration space. I enjoyed those questions that came through, and yeah, I enjoyed, taking a strip down memory lane. There's a few terms and things that I forgot. Restorative justice was one of the terms that I forgot with regards to that space and what you're trying to do in that reintegration area as well when you're working with these. In our case, when we were working with the men that we had. Let's come back. Hang on. Let's just see here. Happy Sunday morning, Vanilla Butcher. Yep, likewise to you too. Where are we? Commentary on tactics used in video games and movies was a suggestion, and I think that was from the same person that because I just grabbed bits and pieces out of these and then just chopped them up and put them down. Commentary on tactics used in video games and movies. I don't know about the video games. I don't sit around and watch video games, so probably not. They did go on to say, like some other ex-SF people do. So I don't know if there's some other. Actually, I think I've seen Big Phil Campion. I haven't watched the video, but I think I've seen the title or something or a short where he says he's going to delve into providing his take on some of the tactics and strategies used in a video game. I thought, oh, okay. No different really to me doing a reaction video to other stuff, but yeah, sitting around watching video games and then talking about the tactics and stuff used, and that's not really something I'm interested in. Maybe movies, but then again, you hear anybody that served in the military, regardless of where you've served, it was pretty common, and I don't know how common it is today, but maybe it's still common, but it was reasonably common for soldiers to then sit and critique movies, especially movies with some military action in them. Grenades lobbing a grenade and it blowing up, and you're seeing these big, massive flames and stuff everywhere, or throwing a grenade and it blowing up a whole building, and soldiers going, "Well, that's just a load of BS." Like, yeah, potentially, we'll see. But I have acknowledged the feedback that you've sent through. So thanks for that. Video games, probably a no from me. Movies, potentially. A movie that comes to mind that stands out that I thought, at least initially, without like just at first glance, just looking at it, that I thought, man, they've had some training here and really helped them nail a lot of their stuff, especially with the context, the way it was initiated, the way they were breaking contact, etc. Was the movie Heat with Robert De Niro, Val Kilmer, Al Pacino. Obviously Robert De Niro and Val Kilmer playing baddies in that movie, along with other notable actors who I can't remember their names, and Al Pacino being the good guy, being the detective. But yeah, when Val Kilmer initiates that contact when they're walking out of the bank, that last scene, I thought that was awesome. I was like, whoa! Obviously, they've had some people with some legit experience have taken the time to take these guys through and train them. Then how they were breaking contact, their weapon awareness, their stoppages, and actually changing magazines. Because funnily enough, your 30-round magazine doesn't last forever, and these guys were carrying out IAs, stoppages, and changing magazines and moving fire and maneuver, all that sort of thing through it. So it was, yeah. So maybe I haven't seen that movie in a long time, but obviously that part is pretty well etched in my memory banks from when I saw that however many years ago. So I thought that was pretty cool. So possibly on the movie stuff. Person here said, and this was one of the more recent ones, just do what I want and what I'm passionate about. They went on to say a whole bunch of other nice things, which was really cool, but I summarized it down to that part. So thank you. Noted as well. This one here, this is a comment on the post. Disappointed all your old training footage was removed. So those that were following me before, which there are a number of people that have re-followed me again after they used to follow me before, with the channel was just doing mostly training stuff and a lot of burpees and then some lifting and all that sort of thing. So disappointed all your old training footage was removed. I really like the training content you put up. They said a few other things like, they're not which is fair enough. Like, yeah, military stuff reactions, yeah, okay, but this person is here predominantly in my little space for the training videos that I put up from time to time. And so yeah, thanks for the feedback and stuff on there, both via email and then those that put comments in. So lots to take in. Maybe there's some more that might come in. I haven't had a look at it today, so I haven't seen if there's any new comments and stuff in there. But it's enough for me to work with anyway, and look to try to implement. Oh, actually, sorry. Here's this one in my. I'm just looking at the email that I received, or one of the emails that I received. The other one here. This person sent me through a link to another person, which has got. They talk about improving your content and that sort of thing. This person that they've sent me the link to has got quite a large, like in the millions of followers. So I thought that was that was cool that this person sent that, and the creator of this content or that video, about 20 minutes long, has got some really good stuff in there, which could be helpful for me, which was the intent of the person who sent it to me. That's why they sent it. The other thing that they've got in there is, and this is their comments, is in and around, better camera. So yeah, I am aware of that. I was trying to do a live on my phone just because the camera is better. But it didn't allow me to, like, it was just playing up, and it didn't allow me to do certain things with it, and then trying to look at the little screen. So for today, still back on the laptop here, but I will get better. I reached out to Buck, Mr. Buckaroony over in Australia, asked him, hey, what camera setup are you using? So he replied to me, he's got a GoPro Hero 9, I think it is, and then he's got a little Sony action camera. So and then the tripod and the dead cat and all that sort of stuff for the wind and stuff when he's outside. So he sent me some images. He was kind enough to respond and let me know what he's using. So I think I'll need to go into a store and just have a chat with the people in there and get a bit of an idea, or maybe talk about what it is that I'm wanting to do. Maybe actually, as I talk about it here, that might there might be some people in here that have a bit of an idea of what I could get and what I should look at getting. So I did hear in that video, again, to the point that this person sent through, the guy that did this, cool little video with the millions of followers, said he just used his mobile phone for the longest period of time, his iPhone. I might need to. My phones are a bit old, so maybe just upgrading the phone may be enough to just sort that out. And maybe instead of using the Samsung, get an iPhone, so I can just transfer stuff a lot easier between my MacBook Pro and an iPhone, instead of having to connect cables and use a different software to transfer what's on my Samsung to the MacBook. So yeah, noted some good points. Camera quality, even though they did say acknowledging content is king, but good and better video clarity and audio goes a long way as well. So I have heard some people say in some cases audio's even better, or more highly regarded, or more regarded than video footage at times. So anyway, I think it can only help if I take some time and try and deliver both. So we'll see how we go. Well, not just both, all three: camera quality, audio quality, and take some time with regards to the content, especially those that have taken the time to reply and put down your comments or your feedback. So thank you again for that. That being said, what's on the horizon? So I put up another post after that. Shubs, the Kiwi fella, I think he was living in Oz for a while. He's doing a whole bunch of videos. He's real authentic, raw, honest, unfiltered. Some people might say shameless. Some people say he's attacking Maori people or attacking our people. I don't see that at all. Sit down. I've watched his stuff. His stuff popped up on my feed. I follow him. I subscribe to him. I don't watch all his content, but I do consume some of his content when it comes up. Not many people typically hold my attention when it comes to talking about stuff to do with politics and that sort of thing. But Shubs is one of those people that can hold mine for a fairly decent period of time, and that's not an easy thing to do when it comes to politics and stuff. Anyway, people have heard my opinions and thoughts and stuff around that. But when he goes in and speaks about things, he's clearly done some research. Has shown me the receipts as an example. And anyway, I could talk about him for quite a while, but I reached out to him yesterday, not expecting a reply. I thought maybe next week sometime if I'm lucky. Otherwise, maybe next weekend. I honestly had no idea how busy he is and how much work he's pumping out. Like, I see his stuff pop up on my channel all the time. I just assumed that they were videos and stuff that he's done from a while ago. But based on what I experienced and went through with him last night, and then what I've seen and the link that he sent me already, this fella, Shubs, is pumping. Like, he is working flat out. So anyway, I like his stuff in a nutshell. I reached out to him, asked him, hey, could we go on a hikoi and a kōrero, have a hikoi and a kōrero, basically go for a walk and talk. I like that style after finally watching and reacting to DJ Shipley and Jay Cow's Paint Me a Picture, where they're basically walking and talking. DJ sets a scene, Jay Cow starts flowing and talking about what a typical day was like on operations for him, and a particular situation that stuck out to him or a particular period of time. And I thought, I really like that. Walking, talking, rather than being sat down like how I am now, but rather than being sat down opposite people, other side of a table or whatever, microphones in front of us, and sitting there talking through. Like, that's cool. I've done that. Some in person, some virtually in the past, and that's cool. But I just liked more what I saw with how DJ and them did it. Mine's going to be like, I don't have a cameraman to walk around and follow the people that I might be lucky enough to meet with. So I'll just be holding my Insta360 on a selfie stick, extended, and then changing hands as I go, because the wrist will probably start getting tired holding that thing as it's leveraged out quite a way. Have the little Rode microphone. I've got two of those. So the other one is in the little box, which was sent as a gift along with that Insta360 from Sadi over in Australia. Cheers, brother. Connect this up with a microphone each, and then we just go walk around and have a kōrero, have a discussion. Now, where was I? Shubs is open to doing that. Well, he's agreed to doing that. He said, yeah, bro. So potentially, with any luck, I'll be able to do a first one with him, because there's no way I'm going to cover off everything that I want to go through with Shubs in one meeting. Not in one sit down 2 hour, 3 hour, 5 hour meeting, not in one walk and talk. So he's open to, and said, yeah, bro, we can, connect multiple times, blah, blah, blah. So I think with any luck, he may be in this area where I am down here in Wellington for a period of time. So if we can, I'll try and get a bit of an introduction one in with him first on Monday, if he's got time. Like I said, he is pumping at the moment. He's got a lot of work. Those that watch and follow his channel and that have been following him for a while will see the work and effort and time that he's putting into the stuff that he does. So there's that aspect to consider. So if he's got time, we'll connect on Monday sometime where he's got a gap in his schedule, and go from there. Otherwise, the next option, or not option, the next time will be potentially next weekend, where I'll travel to where he is. Again, pretty low drag in terms of equipment and setup. These three items: the selfie stick, the microphones, and the camera. Obviously, I'll have my phone, but yeah, pretty easy to move around with that. Low budget, low tech setup, but at least the camera quality on these Instas is nice and clear anyway. Better than what you're getting at the moment from my laptop, I would imagine. Then we'll walk and dive into a whole bunch of stuff. Now, on the back end of that, he replied pretty much maybe within half an hour, maybe less than that, which I was surprised. I didn't see it till later on. And it's just, hey, bro, what's your digits? And so I was surprised, replied, sent him my number, and then he gave me a call again a little bit after that. I was actually in the middle of just doing some training, just some backwards walking and stuff out on the treadmill outside when he called. He confirmed that, yeah, he was keen. And then he goes, oh, what are you up to now? I said, oh, I'm just training at the moment. Anyway, the bloody bugger. I mean that in a positive way. He roped me into having a sit down in a kōrero with him last night. He says, oh, bro, could we do a tato exchange? Like, can I? He goes, bro, I interview people from everywhere. Like, doesn't matter to me. Like, they want to get their story, blah, 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 help them share their story, etc. And I said, oh, yeah, but I was wanting to interview, like, if you want to do that, I was wanting to interview him first. He goes, oh, yeah, well, Monday we can do that. And or next weekend, but if you're doing nothing now, like, I'm free for the next couple of hours, could we do? And I thought, oh man, okay, so I agreed, cut my training shorts, which was fine, got cleaned up. He sent through a link and then jumped on. So anyway, he ended up we ended up having a chat and Kōrero, and he was it was his show. It was him um, interviewing me basically. So the cheeky bugger bloody interviewed me first before I've had a chance to interview him. But um, yeah, I need more than one session. I need more than probably 5 sessions with Shubs to really delve into the stuff that I want, that I would like his perspective, his take, and his responses on. Like that fella's not shy in terms of standing his ground. He's not shy in taking on other people's opinions, whether they're different to his or not. And evidence of that, you just need to go have a listen, check out Shubs Live Radio Aotearoa, check out that space, and just listen to the guests that he has on. Pauline Hanson, as an example. The fella, I'm not going to give away, like I'll leave, but he has got some high up, high profile people on the cards for his show in Radio Aotearoa, and just his journey from a whole bunch of mamai and pain and stuff that he's been through to where he is now, to where he sees himself going, and just sort of what's happening. It's I think people would like or would be interested in hearing what he has to say. If they're not interested, well, then just don't bloody stop by. Don't listen. You don't have to. Nobody's forcing you to. But my take, this fella provides a platform for anybody to have their say. He's open to speaking with anyone, literally anyone and everyone, whether they agree with him or not. And yeah, and some people don't like it. So those that feel like he's attacking Māori and pulling our people down, and he doesn't represent our people well, um, yeah, each to their own. They're allowed their own opinion. I don't think that at all. I think if they sit down and take the time to have a listen, some of the people that he's calling out, he calls out Māori people, white people, other people from, doesn't matter who you are. If you're not doing what you're saying that you are doing or supposed to be doing, and you're in a leadership position, whether you're Te Pāti Māori or National or Greens or Labour or whatever, and you're not doing the things that you're supposed to be doing, the bro is prepared to call you out and ask, show me the receipts. Like, where is this stuff? If and he's openly shared multiple times on his channel, which I've seen. If I'm wrong, I will own that and apologize. Just show me where this spend is. Show me the rationale for this. Show me where I'm wrong and what it is that I'm putting out here. I'm not doing it to try to bring you down. Doing it to a you can show me if I'm wrong, but also to hold you accountable. Like, if you don't like being held to account, then don't do dodgy stuff. So yeah, people, either love him or hate him, and that's their own opinion. I just think he's he's raw, like I said, transparent, honest in what he's doing. Uh, he's flawed, like all of us, but he's genuine and authentic in what it is that he's trying to do. So excited about that one personally for me. I let him know. I said, "Bro, I haven't interviewed people for for a few years now, but I think it'll be all right. Got a bit of a plan in my head in terms of how I'd like to do it. Like the walk and talk is part of that, but there's no. I've got a whole bunch of questions and stuff in my head, but in the walk and talk, not walking around with like a notebook and pen and a list of things. It's more about conversational style. Uh, let him, like, I'll set the scene and ask the question, provide the context, and then let him flow with however he wants to respond, and for however long he wants to go for. I've got a ton of questions, but I have opened it up. I put up another post asking people if there are people that follow Shubs or are interested, or maybe there's people that don't like what he has to say, but have got some genuine questions that they would like him to answer, or that they would like me to ask him. Send them through. Whether you want to put them down in the comments, or whether you want to send it through via email, send it through. I'll add it to the list. If you're just being an idiot, well, then I'll just I'll just ignore it. But I've got, yeah, a ton of stuff, and I think just having a bit of an insight after him and I talking last night, and me getting, that which helped me get even more things that I want to ask him. I think the there'll be multiple catch-ups between him and I, in as much as he has time. Like, he might get a bit hoo-ha doing another one and another one, but hopefully all going well. The flow, the conversation, how everything goes, uh, who knows, it might become a little bit more regular, because I'm also super keen on hearing and seeing how his journey with Radio Aotearoa and what he's doing there progresses. There's some, like I said, he's got some high profile people lined up. He's already interviewed a whole bunch of well known, high profile people, from sports people, from politicians, from, I'm not sure if there's been like movie celebrities. It probably has, knowing that fella. But yeah, he's got some cool stuff lined up. And just in closing, I suppose, on Shubs, yeah, bro, that fella is, bro, like I'm talking to one person. Or am I talking? Well, yeah, there are some people on here, so that's cool. Um, anyway, anybody that is on here, that fella is working hard, like long hours, late nights, like just our time together. The fella sent me through a link. I will accept that, Shubs. Sent me through a link to collaborate. So I think he put up a short snippet or whatever of him interviewing me, which was last night. Um, Again, apologies for my rubbish camera. His is clear as, but he then, it would have been late last night. Plus, when I contacted him and he responded to my email, he was actually in the middle of doing an interview with somebody at that time when he responded. So that's why his response was so brief, like, bro, what's your digits, or send me your digits. And then he called me after that interview. So he's doing multiple back to back to back to back interviews every day with people. And then he squeezed me in, like I said, because he said he had a 2 hour gap. We didn't talk for 2 hours. Actually, it might have felt like that, but it was like a good more than an hour, maybe, maybe an hour and a half. Um, but he is a good listener. He talks super fast. Like, I think I talk fast, but I felt like, man, this fella's brain runs super fast. Reminds me of, I was like, man, this fella could be like Harry Mack, the freestyle rapper over in America. But I've found, like, when I've listened to him, sounds like he speaks fast. Like I said, I think I speak fast, but like, he was like next level, next level fast. And the pace in which he was speaking was still very much dialed in and on track. And so the fact that he's doing all these back to back meetings made time for me after, basically undercut me. I mean that in a good way, but undercut me because he got some time with, well, interviewed me first when I'm wanting to interview him. Um, but it was cool. So yeah, and his flow and the adverts and commercials where he makes time for that for Radio Aotearoa. Yeah, man, that fella's in a flow state with what he's doing right now. Hopefully, he's got, a team of people that are helping, supporting. I think he has, or I don't know how big it is, but that fella is doing, from what I can see, all the heavy lifting. And anybody that's spent any time making content, doing editing, uploading videos, etc., knows what I'm talking about. Um, like, it's time consuming, but if you enjoy it, which he does, and he made that very clear, and it seems clear to me, like, you'll do it. I enjoy doing what I'm doing. I don't necessarily enjoy doing the editing and all that sort of stuff and the uploading, but that's just a part of the process. So I signed up to doing this. So Blinken and I signed up to ask for the feedback. People have given the feedback, so it's up to me to just follow through on that. So anyway, that's the update on Shubs. If you've got questions that you'd like me to ask, send them through in those comments, or send them through in an email. You can find my email in the description or the about part of my channel. If you go to the Go Always a Little Further channel and then click on that about, or the description, I can't remember what it's called. And then as you scroll down, you'll be able to get to the email, or show the email, and then just email me on that one. Plenty of people have, excuse me, plenty of people have emailed me through there. A number of people still email me through there. So, I'll respond to you as soon as I can. And if I don't, send me a reminder, like one of the fellas did on one of my live sessions here, and said, can you please check your email? And when I went and checked it, he had sent me the email at the end of last month. So I then promptly responded to that person and apologized. Um, so where are we? So that's the update on Shubs, and the leaning into doing interviews again. What I will say is that the interviews that I'm looking to do are not remotely, not online. I want to do them in person, do the walk and talk, wherever that is, in that person's space or an area that they know of, and and just go through it that way. There's a bit of a rapid fire segment at the start, a bit of an icebreaker is what I've decided to add in there. A few questions, some will be yes, no, some will be true, false, some will be an opportunity for them to give a 1 word, 2 word, or 3 word, maybe slightly more worded answer. But the idea is to be relatively quick, put the guest on the spot for a bit, have a bit of a laugh together, and help build a little bit of momentum before the more, I guess what you'd call, this is just my plan anyway, before the more structured, more formal questions come through. So that should be, so that's probably going to be the first bit, and then I'll probably be able to cut that up actually, or use bits and pieces of that for the intro portion of the videos as I go. So yeah, looking forward to doing that. Open to interviewing, military people, all that sort of stuff. Those that are wanting to, regardless of what area they served in, and all sorts. Who sees? Who knows? Who sees? Who knows? We'll see what happens from here. Bloody hell, who sees? So that's that, and open to. I'll probably put up another post into excuse me, in terms of people to interview. There's probably a couple of other people, like right now off the top of my head, that come to mind that I'd look to reach out to. Cameron Holmes is one. Dave Obeda. I'm not sure how to say his name. So Cameron Holmes, he interviewed me a little while ago. Layers with Cam. Be interested to get a bit of an insight and have a bit of a walk and talk with him. We still got to connect and go for a bit of a stomp. He wanted to come do a pack march. So his thing was he's wanting to like do an interview and then go do something with a guest that he's had on whether that's some training or something in their space. So I said, oh, we can do a pack march or something. We can do a mini Von Temske if he wants to, pack on, grab a jerry can or 2 jerry cans and go for a walk. So he's open to doing that, but we haven't been able to connect. We've just had some stuff happening. He's been busy, I've been busy. He had weddings to attend, I had weddings to attend, etc. So, but who knows? I don't know that I'm too keen on wanting to do a little mini Von Temske, but a mini one is better than a normal one. So we'll see how that goes. So he's one. Dave Obeda. He's the guy, the Fresh Start podcast host. I've read the description of his YouTube channel. I've seen a lot of his stuff pop up on my YouTube feed. I've watched some of his stuff. I think I watched one of his videos where he was cruising around Porirua here, getting shown around by gang members, I think current and maybe former or less associated or affiliated, if that's the right word, members of the gangs. I think they'll always have that affiliation, but yeah, I could be wrong on that. But he was cruising around Porirua into the creek, Waitangiroa, the pad, like we're just pretty much opposite the pad here and in P-Town and Porirua. And it was cool. Like just his conversational style he seems to focus more on not like poverty, hardship type focus. His seems to be, at least my take from what I saw, seems to be more focused on like the community aspect of it, the resilience. Yeah, there's some sadness and stuff in there whereby people have been involved in, because of his background, and he's open about what he's been through over in Australia and stuff, and got deported as one of those 501 deportees back here to NZ after I don't know how many times he's been in and out of the system, but he's got some mental scars and lived experience that not a lot of people have got, and dare I say, including me, not a lot of people would want to go through. But how he goes about trying to lean into that space, be open and transparent, and share that for the benefit of trying to help others, I thought, man, that's pretty cool. So yeah, need to reached out to him. We'll wait and see. Again, I'm not expecting, like, that fella's busy with what he's doing as well. Janaya is another fella here in Wellington. He's here in Wellington, so I don't know where Dave is based. Cameron's obviously here in Wellington. Shubs is not in Wellington, but he may be down here on Monday next week. I don't know when, but that's a maybe. I don't know if it's confirmed. So that's why I say maybe I can get a first session with him on Monday if he's here. Otherwise, next weekend, and I'll travel to him. What's the name? Bloody. I was supposed to interview him years ago when I was doing the Epic Aotearoa podcast. Paul Wood, I think is his name, psychologist, was convicted of murder, but massive turnaround in his life and where he is now. He's done some work with professional athletes. I think he's done some work with the military and I think with the New Zealand SAS like a number of years ago. He sent me a book, which I have got. It's just probably in the room there somewhere with the other books that I don't really read, but I have actually read a lot of his stuff in that book, How to Escape Prison, How to Escape from Prison. And I can't remember the name of the other book, but he sent me 2 books. Anyway, it was 2 books? Yeah, I think it was 2 books. But anyway, here's another one. And then, yeah, from there, see what happens. But leaning into that space, doing some walk and talk interviews with people, hopefully at a deeper level, the intent trying to get them to share stuff that maybe they haven't shared in other platforms. I know Shubs has been interviewed a number of times. I haven't watched a lot of those interviews because I want to go into the interview reasonably with a clean slate, but there is some bits and pieces as part of research homework that I'll look to do anyway prior to catching up with him. Because yeah, there are some stuff of his background that I'm aware of, which I would like to hear him delve into in as much as he's open to. So, for fear of him, well, not for fear of him, he may not want to go and regurgitate stuff that he knows he's got into a lot of depth. So rather than him regurgitating things that can be found on the internet whereby he has explained his position and or what was going on, I would be looking to try to see if there's anything else that he may not have shared, but maybe, equally valuable as well in our corridor as we go. So there's that. If people have got suggestions of who you'd like me to reach out to do some interviews with, send them through. I know I've received requests to interview Jamie Pinnell, so I will reach out to him and follow up, see if he's keen or open to do a bit of a walk and talk and have a chat. Who else is there? I think there are some other people. Obviously, people have asked me to, it'd be great if you could have a sit down with RS and that sort of thing. Like I've shared, the bro is going through. I'm pretty sure he's not allowed to and wouldn't be allowed to talk about what's going on at the moment. Although in saying that, I would love to do a behind the scenes and just sort of, not broadcast any of that stuff until such time as it was legally allowed, if that's the right term. Not only legally allowed, but such time as when he was comfortable or those within his circle were comfortable for that sort of stuff. Maybe that is being done as we speak, maybe there are people. I think it would be awesome. I would definitely watch it. I think it would be awesome if there were, people within his camp that are filming, like just randomly filming. Obviously, you'd need to get some editors and stuff that do all the splicing together or whatever, which would give an insight in terms of, just the preparation, the challenges, the obstacles, the good days, the bad days. Just I think that would be interesting to see. But again, that's just because that's what I want to see, or what I would like to see, or what I would be interested in seeing, doesn't mean that that's what they want to do, right? But I think it would help give a bit of an insight in terms of not only what they're going through, but also maybe provide a bit of an insight in terms of the damage that and the power that the media has and their ability, it seems, to be able to freely accuse somebody of war crime allegations and make it seem like they are guilty before. So this is before they were ever charged and arrested. Yes, he's been charged and arrested now, but that only happened just this year. Bear in mind, he was accused of these and it was made out and portrayed that he is guilty of these things like more than a decade before he got arrested, and it was televised and publicized this year. So just that power that they have, the impact that that has on individuals and has had on individuals, with those that have committed suicide, families that have broken up, disconnection, etc. Would that cause the media to wake up to themselves? Probably not, because as a number of people that have shared comments on some of my videos, or one of the videos recently with the AFP guy, like, it creates a headline and it gets attention and it gets views, and therefore I guess that impacts their ratings and how much money gets pumped into those mainstream, legitimate mainstream media outlets, which is sad and disappointing, disgraceful in some of the stuff that you've seen. Not in all cases. Like, it would be naive, I think, of me to brandish a whole organ or everybody within an organization as being deceitful, corrupt, blinking idiots, whatever. But sadly, it seems like those that have the limelight to be able to push these narratives and the stories end up getting awards. And even when they are found to have done something underhanded, i.e., paying bribes or editing video footage, nothing happens. Like, accountability, nothing. So it's not deemed illegal to bribe somebody so that they don't testify. It's not deemed illegal to edit videos and add more gunshots in. But when somebody calls somebody out in terms of defamation, like, it just added to the perception, I think, for the public to look at that and go, "Ah, see, look, RS must be guilty," because he lost his defamation case, where he brought the defamation cases against 3 media outlets: Fairfax, Channel, The Guardian, Fairfax, The Guardian, and whoever else the other one was, from memory. And he lost that battle, as I shared. But it it wasn't it wasn't a loss in terms of which then said he's guilty. It was on the balance of probabilities, according to the judge, that he felt like, okay, it seems to him, it seemed more reasonable that the media's version of events was more, what's the word I'm looking for? More accurate, or was more true than the evidence that was being presented by RS in stating that those claims were absolutely false, which RS has gone on record as categorically denying, etc., etc. So, yeah, it does a lot of damage, man, is what I'm getting at. And so, just because I would want to see it doesn't mean, somebody like RS or other people would want to delve into that. So, yeah, the request for to sit down and meet with RS, that's, if that ever happened, I would 100% I would welcome that. If that ever happened, I don't think that's happening anytime soon. At the same time, if it doesn't happen, I'm okay with that too. Doesn't bother me. There's going to be plenty of no's in the process. There's going to be plenty of people that, as I eventually continue to reach out to, that are going to say no thanks. Yeah, nah, it's all right, whatever. There will be some people that just won't even respond. So, again, like with anything, as I've spoken about in other videos, if you're going to look to go after what it is that you want to do, blink in, chase it, go hard, go all in, like, push it, like what Shubs is doing. That fella, man, unless he's announced them already, but when you get an insight of the the sort of people and the people that have expressed an interest in him, and who it seems like he's got on the hook to then eventually, sit down, have a chat with, whether it's remotely or in person, to me is neither here nor there in terms of what he's doing. What I'm wanting to do is, I want my conversations, walk and talk, to be in person. I love the aspect about Sean Ryan's interviews. They all seem to be done in person. Yeah, they're seated down in a nice environment, nice studio. It's cool. It works and it's awesome. Um, who else is there? The Between Two Beers lads. Like, they got a cool story. Like, I think I need to reach out to them. It'd be cool to do a bit of a walk and talk with them and get a bit of an insight. They've had Jamie on. They've had another ex-Kiwi SAS guy on there. They've had all sorts of people on there, celebrities, sports people. Um, those guys have got an interesting story. They risked it all, from what I can tell, and bits and pieces that I've heard. They decided to just go all in on their podcast, and they're smashing it. Like, but it didn't start out like that. Nobody's story, nobody's journey starts out at the top, or starts out in a place of where people look at them, like I look at them and go, man, I don't look at them in terms of they've made it. I look at them in terms of they're super successful and they're only going to get better and better. You know, I look at Janiyah. Those that don't know him, Janiyah on Instagram, super Samoan beast, um, strong as, uh, can grapple, can do jujitsu, like flexible, mobile. Um, don't let him grab you. Bit hard to not let that happen when when you're when you choose to engage in jujitsu, and then you look over and then you see that blinking gorilla sitting, the Samoan gorilla sitting over there on the side without a partner, and then try to look away, see if anybody else smaller is around to then wrestle with. But no, those jokes aside, he's awesome. He is a super um, cool person to grapple and roll with, whether you are experienced, whether you are a newbie. He has, this is Janiyah I'm talking about, he has such an awareness of his body in space and his strength, like his ability to, um, if he wants to go hard, uh, I pity the fool. Mr. T from the A team, man, I pity the fool that wants to push the pace. Like if you're a real technical guru and you're, equally strong as well, okay, cool. Janiyah is technical, but he's gentle. Like it's not because he is not aggressive and not because he can't be aggressive. Like he'll blink and probably rip an arm and a leg off you if you if you decide to play up and want to push the boundaries. But he is, yeah, he's an awesome person to train with. He's an awesome person to be trained by. He's an awesome person to be on the mats and rolling with. So yeah, unless something drastically has changed in the last year or so with regards to how he is on the mats. But I think anybody that knows him, he has an incredible amount of strength. You'll get like maybe 10, 15% of his strength when you're rolling on the mats. And I can tell you that's enough. That's more than enough. When you watch him on Instagram and you see what he's lifting or what he's capable of lifting, what he lifts, what he does, and then other stuff that he's doing in terms of how he tries to support and help other people in his community, in his space, not only clients, etc. He's got a cool story, man, and I would love to tap into that and have him share that stuff um, eh, on my little space. So we'll see how we go. I've got to reach out to the fella, see if he's got time, because again, like with anything, people are busy wherever they are and whatever they're doing. So we'll see how that all pans out. But again, coming back, where was I? If you've got suggestions of people that you'd like me to reach out to and see if they'd be interested in doing a walk and talk, yeah, we can sit down and put our feet up if we start getting tired, and if we've been walking for the last 3 or 4 hours and we need to have a bit of a break. Actually, that reminds me, I would need to make sure I've got a power bank so I can recharge this thing. I think it shows up has about just under 5 hours battery life when it's fully charged. Some of those walks and talks may go for some time, but at the same time, I think um, people have got a heck of a lot of layers to who they are, what they've been through, where they're at now, where they see themselves in the future, and more. That I think it would probably be doing a disservice if I just tried to, if it was a one and done with a person that I'm interviewing or talking with. If I just looked to, you know, limit to a 1 hour, a 2 hour, or 3 hour walk and talk. So yeah, that's just where my head is. We'll see how it all pans out and goes, but I'm looking forward to doing that. And again, um, it may be pretty rough around the edges. There may be some technical difficulties with audio. These are disclaimers, by the way. But one thing, if there's one thing I know, much like I recall from when I was doing the podcast with my brother-in-law, is that I'll get better. Like it'll just take time. So I'll just need to turn up, be consistent, work hard, um, learn and try to improve from that, and then just repeat, just go again. So yeah, that's that. Go check out Shubs live if you haven't already. If you don't support that fella, that's all well and good. If you don't want to, if you do, awesome. If you're interested in learning more or wanting to support him, jump over there and give him a like and a follow, and yeah, and have a listen to some of the stuff that he has to say. Like I said, I don't listen to all his stuff, but there are things that pop up on my feed, being a subscriber of his, that do interest me. So I do click on it and have a bit of a listen, and that's going to help steer some of my conversation with him and questions that I have for him. Similarly with Dave Obeda. Sorry if I'm saying his name wrong, or your name if you happen to be here, bro. But reached out to that fella. Uh, eh, would love to, sorry, in terms of what he does on his channel. Haven't seen a lot of his content. I'm fairly new to subscribing to his channel, to be fair. I'd seen his stuff pop up on my channel before. I'd watched bits and pieces like that, his trip around here in Porirua. But at that time, that was quite a while ago. At that time, I hadn't subscribed to it. I think I watched it for a bit, had a bit of a laugh and a smile listening to the conversations that were happening and what was being shown. Liked what I heard and how Dave communicated and some of the stuff that he chose to focus on in terms of the community aspect, etc., and just the bonds that are built in those environments. And then I think I clicked off and then went to something else. But yeah, who knows? Time will tell. Suggestions are welcome, and we'll see where we land. Just on that one last one, for Shubs and Radio Aotearoa, that fella, what I picked up on and noticed when he breaks and does his commercials on it, um, anybody, literally anybody, can get in touch with him. He's when he's doing those adverts, as if you, I think he spoke about words of the effect of, if you want to share your story, and he said, if you want to share your story like we're doing here with Joe Hortai, reach out Shubs at Aotearoa Radio or at Shubs Live. Bloody hell, can't remember. Have a look at Shubs anyway. Aotearoa Radio or Radio Aotearoa. Bloody hell, I'm probably getting that all wrong. One of those. But if you know, you know, go check him out, Shubs. And if you want to have a kōrero with him, is where I was going with that. He literally is open to anybody reaching out, and I can tell you that fella is working flat out. Last part on that, just a shout out to Dion Jensen, because it was both Shubs and I know Dion, and it was, I'd seen other bits and pieces of Shubs' content, and I knew and had seen a clip of him and several clips of him catching up with somebody who I consider a friend anyway, Dion Jensen. And Shub said to me that he goes, yeah, Dion said I should get in touch with you and have a chat with you, but when he said he never got around to doing it, which is fine. It's not something that I expected. But Dion hadn't said to me to get in touch with Shubs. Like, I hadn't spoken with Dion for a while. Last time I saw Dion was at the battalion birthday in Linton Camp, which is good to see him and a whole bunch of other fellas, which is also Maddie Bedford's farewell, who's now over in the Australian Defence Force. But Dion's a really good guy. Lion Academy, the work that he does, the people that he helps and continues to try to help, people that he has helped and continues to try to help. But I didn't know that he had said that to Shubs until Shubs told me. But funny how things work out. Anyway, I decided to act on the feeling that I had and reach out to Shubs. Thankfully for me, Shubs was gracious enough to respond, and we connected last night. So he beat me to it, but we will connect again and potentially multiple times going forward, because, like I said, I'm not going to get through everything that I'd like him to speak about and talk about in one session. So yeah, shout out Dion Jensen. Cheers for planting the seed. So I think when I introduced myself, just said I'm Joe Hortai in my email, Shubs said he instantly recognized that name because of some of the kind words that Dion had shared. So that was good to know, and a good plug for me from Dion. Anyway, that aside, I've been yapping on, and there's some comments in here, whether people are talking to me or to themselves. We will see. Dan, hi guys, happy Sunday. Yeah, happy Sunday to you too. Sadi, Big Phil does Call of Duty, Urban Residential Terrorist, House Task, Kill, No Capture, SSE, Sensitive Site Exploitation. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm not into video games, eh? Cheers, Sadi. And again, acknowledgement to you, bro, for the items, the Insta360, the microphone, and just your support, bro. Appreciate it. So if that's what Big Phil's doing, good on him. Yeah, I don't see myself doing reactions to video games. Anyway, then the Marines still use Val Kilmer's mag change and training videos, apparently. Oh, yeah. I didn't know that. But yeah, he carries out some sharp drills, man, from what I recall. of that movie anyway. Like I might go back and look at it now and go, "Oh, that's terrible," but I don't think so. Like that's something that's pretty well etched in my memory, and it looked good then. I'm sure it still looks good now. Three nuts. Morning, Joe from Victoria. Hey, kia ora, bro. G'day. I watched your great podcast last night on Combat Story. It was a great listen and learned a lot. Oh, thanks, bro. Ryan Fugit is the man. Like he's got a awesome Wairua spirit about him and how he conducts things. And that's probably somebody that I don't know. I'd love to do a walk and talk with him. Who knows? Maybe I can get over to the States one of these days. And if somebody that I reach out to over there or people that I reach out to over there are interested, David Goggins would be a cool person to do a walk and talk with. Actually, that fellow would probably want to run and then bloody cripple me. Have you done other ones on other podcasts to watch? Have I? Ryan Fugit, Combat Story. I think probably just my brother-in-law way back when on the Epic Aotearoa podcast. When we were when we were running the podcast together, but then we sort of lent into this Who Dares Wins in the service of others Who Dares Wins series that we were doing. And I thought, well, if I was going to ask other ex-operators to come on, share some of their story, then I needed to be willing to share some of mine. So that's probably the only one that I can remember. Was it the only one? Oh, and Cameron Holmes. Sorry, there I was talking about him before, and then I bloody forget the guy. Sorry, Cam. Layers with Cam. He reached out to me and asked if he could interview me, and so I accepted that. He's here in Wellington, so those are the only ones that I know of. Nothing, nothing spectacular, bro. But I think Combat Story is a pretty that's a very popular podcast from my understanding. I don't know. I haven't been back to his podcast actually to have a look at and see what he's doing and how he's going. And actually, I've lost comms with Ryan, so yeah, I should probably go back and reach out to him just see how he's doing. To be fair, but yeah, thanks for your comments, Solly. Tip to get cameraman, get a volunteer, and in return give them SAS training tips for free. Hey, what a bloody, that's a good idea, eh? I don't know if anybody would be interested in that, but hey, like if you don't ask, you don't get, hey. Daniel Cryan Ninja, he's got a ninja emoji on there. Yeah, that's a cool idea actually. Volunteer, it's hard enough, I think, getting time with a guest that you want to interview and them giving of their time like several hours at a time, or an hour, like 30 minutes, an hour or more of their time, and then to try to find a volunteer that can fit within the same time frame, that is willing to give that time. I guess that's why they're called volunteers, if they're open to doing that. Who knows? If that's something that interests you, potential volunteer out there that may want some tips and guidance and stuff with training and prep or whatever, at no cost, like you just rock up if and when you can to do some filming, then hit me up, let me know, send me a message. I'll put it that way. Maybe I should put a post up or a poll or whatever. Maybe not a poll, just a question. Random fact, Andy McNabb is a diagnosed psychopath. Wow. Psychologist Kevin's Dutton Oxford / Cambridge background diagnosed him, has done interviews with / on him, and has a free audio book on psychopaths on YouTube. Random fact, right? What's his name? Kevin Dutton. Wow. He's diagnosed Andy McNabb as a psychopath. Interesting. On YouTube, Lewis B. I like that honesty. Yeah, if you're talking about Shubs' honesty, 100%. Like, I like how he comes across, man. I think it's like I don't think you can. I don't think you can hide that, or I don't think you can fake that. Is what I'm not hide it. I don't think you can fake that. That just how he is, and what I experienced last night, uh, how I see him on social media, and how he interacts with other people from all races, beliefs, etc. That's exactly how he was with me last night. We had some good laughs. I think at one stage we were both calling each other porangi, which Lincoln means stupid, crazy, talking about things, and just had a really good laugh, and I enjoyed myself having a chat with him. He did put me in my place and said, "Yeah, no, this is my show, cuz you're not hijacking my this is my show. I'm doing the interviewing." Basically, I'm the man here. In Blinken, you're my guest. I'm interviewing you. So yeah, it was a hard case. It was good. Ninja Cuts. Looking forward to the interview, bro. Well done, Joe. It can only get better. Thank you, bro. Yeah, I think so too. Well, not I think so. I know that will be the case. Yeah, might start out a bit dodgy. Sadly, you've got this ugly looking virtual background in the background at the moment, and around my head is all blurred and whatever. And the camera quality isn't very good, but it'll get better. I guarantee it. Whether or not that translates into uh, perceived success or growth, like that's up to the individual. For me, I know it'll get better, and whatever shape, shape or form that eventuates, like it'll be what it'll be. So I'll be happy. How are you spelling Shubs, or is it Chubs? Oh yeah, Shubz. Maybe I'll type that into here. Oh yeah, there we go. Dan's already put it in at Shubs Live. I put his handle in the post that I put up as well. But head on over there. I think he's on multiple channels, Instagram, TikTok. Some of his stuff, some people might find cringe, I think is the word I've seen. Yeah, each to their own. There's probably some stuff that I think, holy heck, that fella's, yeah, he's at it again. But I like how he addresses the haters that come after him. Again, doesn't shy away from it, no filter, and yeah, and responds. It's quite a hard case. It's entertaining, but it's also not only to me. Not only is it also entertaining, but it is also layered and embedded in that is actual truth, in terms of what he's found out, why he's saying what he's saying, and his open invitation to Maori and non-Maori alike to challenge him on it and to show him where he's wrong. Uh, and he's still waiting. He's still waiting for those people who are a bit upset that he's called them out. You'll hear him on there, big Papa Horn, when he's talking. Those that know will know who he's talking about. Those that don't know, have a little look. He'll put up images and photos and all sorts of stuff, and then get right into it. So actually, he's somebody that would be crack up at doing voiceovers at some of the content that I've done as well. He's got that typical hoary vibe and communication style about him that I think people would probably fall out of their chair laughing, to be honest, if he was doing a voiceover to some stuff. Where are we? How are you? Oh, yeah, so we've done that. It's Shubs, I think. So yeah, Solly's got it, and then Dan has provided it as well. Yeah, I think. Yeah, no, that's the one, Dan, that you've got. Thanks, Dan. You're welcome. Lewis, shame only in person because there's one guy I'd want to see you speak to, James Williamson, SRR. I think your personalities would click. James Williamson. Is that the Jameson's Travels guy? Hit up Walesy, legend. Yeah. Few guys in that space, bro. Be good to catch up with Moff again. Do a walk and talk with him. Some other guys that like the lads that have been on the Bravery and Betrayal, bunch of guys on there that I'd love to do a walk and talk with. You know, depending on their time and me getting over to Australia, etc. But yeah, there's a bunch of obviously military space. I think there's a number of people that instantly come to mind. Sorry, when I was talking about interview list and suggestions, and the reason why I was trying to gather my thoughts is because I was thinking of people outside, external to the military, and those were just a handful of the names that came to mind at that time. But yeah, you spot on, Sadi, with regards to Walesy. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah, James and Stuart, like I'm not. I think, and noting your point, Lewis B85, about the shame only in person. Depends on how things go. Like I don't think there's any reason why the only limiting factor will be a financial perspective. That's it in terms of me getting to overseas, going to other places. Like I'd love to do a walk and talk with Magnus. Magnus, is that his name? The crazy climber that does Blinken. He's done a whole bunch of military and special forces courses. Bloody did the world's hardest marathon, as far as I'm aware, on 2 weeks' notice. Bloody, he's done a whole bunch of stuff. There'd be people that I would just love to, from strong men, as we think about it. Yeah, they're big personalities, but I put it this way: I don't care whether they're a big public profile or popular on YouTube, or whether they're not not a big presence on any social media platform. Um, I, I don't care. Like, I'd love to. Uh, I'm open to that list, whoever's on that list, and then going from there and reaching out. You know, um, I think there's value. I believe there's value in everybody in terms of the things that they've been through, where they're at, what they're hoping to do, mistakes that they've made, etc., etc. So everybody's got a story. There's people here like that are on this chat that if they were open to, I'd do a walk and talk with them. They know who they are. They helped out on the first reckoning. I had one of the bros, not yesterday, day before, hit me up and invite me if I wanted to go watch the Super Rugby, Hurricanes and Blues game last night. He hit me up on Friday, said I'd love to go. Had some stuff happen yesterday. Didn't end up going. I ended up not being in the headspace to go. But appreciated, excuse me, the reach out anyway. He'll likely be happy. He was also going with a couple of his military mates. So I would have, I was keen as ready to go. We had some stuff come up, so it sort of diverted attention and time. But yeah, everything's all good. But just things happen at the times that we don't want to. I would have had the opportunity to meet his family as well, but that'll come around again. So yeah, there's plenty of people, locals, and people abroad that I'd love to catch up and meet with and do what it is that I'm talking about. So next step is just taking action and cracking on and getting started. Just so happens that Shubs will be the first one. So yeah, hopefully Lewis, hopefully the stars align, things happen or things work out, and I do get to the stage whereby I can go and engage with people that are further away. Solly, could you pass? Oh, hang on. Sorry, just scrolled past it again because of my thing. Could you pass SA selection now? Right now, today, going? Probably not. I'll probably fail I got asked that question before about the physical stuff. Like with my Achilles, I'd probably fail the 2.4 and likely definitely the 3.2, just with the inability to sustain the repetitive impact of the running at the moment. So it's getting better, it's making progression, but it's going to take a while for my Achilles. That's probably from the running perspective, and given that that's going to be day one, it'd be, if I was showing up there right now, day one, I'd be like, if I have time to train and prepare for that, yeah, probably I would say give me I'd need to train specifically again for probably, I'd say, at least a year, to be fair, like including the rehab that I'm doing on here, focus that a little bit more to really try to dial that in. I have been rehabbing my knee and stuff for quite a while, which is going well, making progress. But I'd need longer to just dial in on that. Really, probably the main things that I would be worried about would be the running, just to get that up to scratch, and probably speed under load. Like as you get older, it's no secret, things start to deteriorate, but with enough time training and prepping and doing what I need to do in a focused way, like what I did when I was younger, then yeah, I think I give myself a chance. And if I was to go on it and do it, I would be going on it with the intention of passing or completing it and passing, not participating. If that makes sense. I've shared my thoughts about people that want to go on selection just to see what it's like or get a feel for it. I don't think that's the way to go about it. Have I got any interest? Is probably a better question. Have I got any interest in looking to do a selection now? If I was, it would be for nothing more than to just see it, how I went with a cohort of people that are actually in the military looking to do selection because they want to go and serve in the unit. Like, there's no reason for me to go and serve in the unit. So if I was to go on selection, it would be I can't see any valid reason for me personally these days as to why I would do it. Not unless I had intentions of trying to go back into the unit. And if that was the case, well, I've just blown that out of the water with being on social media, haven't I? So yeah, I just don't see any reason for me to be looking at doing it. Also, would be cool if Hugh Keir could be interviewed. But yes, yeah, he's definitely it'd be great to interview Hugh. You're right, Solly. He seems like a really good man. It'd be great to have a walk and talk with him in his neck of the woods, wherever he is. You both deployed. Plus, you've reacted to many of his vids. Yeah, because he's got some cool guests. He's had some cool guests, I should say, and he will continue to do good things. He's got, by the sounds of things, Solly, he's got a really great way of engaging with his members, like yourself, and what he has available. And you've shared some of that stuff with me on live chats here and in other emails that you've sent through. So appreciate that. And yeah, he's definitely somebody to chew the fat with and get his thoughts. Lewis, since he's teaching BJJ and other community stuff, Paul Kale would also be interesting. Yeah, he's an interesting guy. I knew his name when I was at 4RA. I'm pretty sure we were there at the same time. Obviously, I think he may have been with one of the rifle companies, or maybe he was in another support company with the unit, but I never served directly with him in any teams. I've seen some of bits and pieces of an interview that he's done. I think it was on Vice TV. I think it said Australia's most deadliest commando or something like that, or most lethal, something like that, or most deadliest special forces soldier. But yeah, clearly he's been doing BJJ for a while. He runs some CQB stuff, from what I understand. He'd be an interesting cat to chat with. A lot of experience, obviously, in terms of his time in the military. I don't know much more about him other than the BJJ and his time in the military, but yeah, definitely. I think personally, there's probably, for me anyway, I think there's no shortage of, which is great. I think there's no shortage of potential ex-military personnel. It's just a case of whether or not they would be interested in catching up with me and doing something like this. But yeah, there's plenty of people. Paul Kale, Joe could become the new Ross Kemp of NZ. Ross Kemp, who's Ross Kemp? E-Baby Secrets. I don't know who Ross Kemp is. I'll have to have a look. The new Ross Kemp of New Zealand. Is he a New Zealander? Ross Kemp. No, don't know who that is. Solly 1234. Hopefully he's a good person. If he's not, then nah, I don't want to be that person. Solly, do you look down on criminals more than terrorists? Interesting question. I don't know if I've ever been asked that before. I don't even think I've had that thought before. So if I was to answer that initially, like just honestly straight off the bat, I don't think so. Maybe I look at them the same, and I think I think it depends on the context, like what type of crime has been committed. Like, you know, if you're talking somebody that's, and don't get me wrong, I'm not advocating for shoplifting, chocolate bar, lolly, or something, or drink from the shops. Like, that's bad. Don't do that. But depends on what the crime is, eh? Like if it's bashing women, if it's armed robbery, if it's murder, if it's dealing and supplying drugs and getting that into communities, destroying communities, families, youth, etc., then yeah, I'd probably look at them the same as terrorists, to be fair. That's my take. But do I look down on criminals more than terrorists? Yeah, never been asked that before. I love your questions, Solly. Keep them coming, bro. Like I think I've shared with you even because you're always, even when you send through, you're always very polite and respectful in terms of the questions that you ask. And you always say to me, like, if it's not something that you think is appropriate or that you don't want to ask, you know, no, I understand you don't have to. I like to think I've answered all your questions that you've ever put forward because, yeah, I don't have any issue with trying to answer them, even though I may get confused and even though I may not be able to answer them very well. I'll always try and answer them. Doesn't matter who it comes from, you or whoever. I don't think yet I've received a question that I've thought, I'm not answering that one. So whether it's live, whether it's an email, some people prefer sending their questions through via email or messages. Yeah, cool. So that's my take on that one. From an online search, organized crime causes more deaths, harm than terrorism. Wow, that's crap. I think there's you see some online crime, the underworld they call it over in Australia, happening at the moment, which is just, I think it's real cowardly. That's my take. I get it. They're underworld. They're secret. They got to keep their illegal operations out of the light, because it's illegal. Like, I get that. But then the the cowardly aspects of it, the two fellows traveling over to Vietnam to execute, what was it, coconut cartel member out on the street, who's over there. I don't know, what that person's doing, maybe on holiday, maybe avoiding being arrested, or whatever. Clearly, if the gang or a rival gang can find where he is, and if that person who's just been murdered, executed, is wanted for crimes, then surely the relevant authorities, local and or international, can find him and then bring him, bundle him up, and then bring him back to face the crimes or the charges, and go through the justice process. But in terms of online search, organized crime causes more deaths / harm than terrorism. There's probably truth to that. I don't know. I'm no expert in that space in terms of organized crime versus terrorism. They're both seem as bad as each other. They do cowardly things in the shadows to avoid being taken out, or to avoid, in my opinion, being confronted by people that are willing to move towards that threat. You know what I mean? So that's my take. Yes, those that are prepared to move towards that threat do and conduct training in secret. They conduct operations under the cover of darkness with technology, nods, ISR, etc., to catch these people off guard. Because it's not they're not lining up out on the battlefields anymore, like they used to back in the day. I just, you watch some of those movies like The Patriot and whatever, and like the toy soldiers all lined up. Officer can't engage the officers because they maintain order on the battlefield, then giving the commands and loading and firing and whatever the commands were. Like, everything's changed. You don't want to fight like that. And smaller, less equipped, outnumbered people in that space, when you're taking on larger forces, or technologically and superior and training and ability wise, got the advances as well, or got the advantages as well, people are going to resort to trying to stack as many odds in their favor as they can. So I get that, but I still think it's, when you're taking out innocent people in the process and you don't care, when you're using innocent people as a shield, as a means for you to escape, and or as a means to be a deterrent to forces that are there, that are coming for you, and you drag innocent people into it to try to give yourself some protection, because you know that those forces that are prepared to lean into it and to come after you are not there to look to engage and just senselessly kill intentionally innocent people that have been dragged in, and just walk around and go, oh, it's just collateral damage. The first thought of those people, in my experience, is trying to rescue those people that have been dragged in. How do we get them clear, so that we can then do, or so that they can then do the work that they need to do? So, yeah. Interesting. Cool comments. What else did you have in here? Let's just blah, 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 blah. Also, Sean Ryan said, at least the terrorists believe in something. Interesting. Yeah, okay. I would probably say, and again, I'm no expert, but I'm guessing, I like to think organized crime believe in something as well. Whatever that is, maybe it's just more money. Maybe, maybe that's a question, or a point of interest or debate or whatever, or point of context in terms of who am I, or who are other people to say uh, how important a person or a group of people's belief is and or isn't in comparison to somebody else's. I don't know. But yeah, if that's what Sean Ryan said, like, that fella's been around, seen some stuff, and everybody's got their opinions and thoughts on things. Like I said, I would have thought organized crime believe in something, even if it is just money. I don't know. Compared to cartel members who are prostitutes for money. Okay, here we go. Just read your comment there. A Navy SEAL said 90% of wrestlers who went into BUD/S passed. Well, that's interesting. He said the pain is similar. 90% of wrestlers. Well, that's interesting. Yeah, I don't know how many wrestlers apply to go on to Navy SEAL Buds, that basic underwater demolition SEALs training. That'd be interesting to know. A Navy SEAL said 90% of wrestlers who went into Buds passed. He said the pain is similar. Well, also Habib said Sambo. Sambo. Is it Sambo? How do they pronounce it? I'd look at it and say Sambo. Um, but yeah, I don't know if there's another way of saying it. Wrestling and BJJ is all you need for points win. Okay, well, Khabib would know, bro. Fella's a legend right there, undefeated. Some may say questionable in terms of his undefeated record. There's 1 or 2 fights. I forget the name of the fighter, but I can picture the fight that was happening. I'd never seen Khabib getting ragdolled like that before. But hey, his record stands. He's undefeated. He seems like records aside, he just seems like a genuine, hardworking person, man, who was passionate about what he did, loves his father. Rest in peace to his father, his family, his friends, and just a relentless work ethic from what I've seen. What's available on social media. So if that's what he said, then I'm not disagreeing. I get your point about interviewing in person, but for people that's probably not going to happen, like old UK SAS veterans, perhaps better to do online, question mark. Yeah, I don't know. I'm running face to face is where I'm at. What I'll be doing at this stage solely. Maybe in certain circumstances there might be an online, but like I said, I'm prepared to travel wherever to meet with people and do a walk and talk. In some cases, if people can't necessarily walk and talk, then maybe it's sit and have a chat indoors, outdoors, move around for a little bit, as much as the person may be able to, especially if they may be getting on in years or whatever. A veteran's perspective, and or potential limitations with injuries that may prevent them from being able to move around as much. Like, as long as I can do them in person, that's where my head is at. Um, Otherwise, you miss the chance to talk at all. Yeah, and that's a valid point. Could miss the chance to talk at all. Yeah, so like I said, this is where I'm at the moment. That's the path that I'm heading on, and yeah, I think sadly with that as well, Solly. Even though you make a really good point at the end, I'm going to miss the chance, and we all are going to miss the chance to hear from people that we would have loved to have heard from anyway. That may seem like a miserable way of looking at it. It's not meant to be. Just trying to, you know, be as realistic as I can. I just think that will be something that, sadly, I will never have any control over, and many other people as well just won't. Sadly, we won't have that control, and there'll be lots of people essentially at the end of the day that will miss out on hearing from and or talking to. Nigel Ely, Mick Hawks, old 22 SS. I've heard Mick Hawks. I've seen him. I think he's the guy with the blonde hair, and I think he's the guy that they mentioned. He spoke about. He did a lot of step ups before selection as well. So if that is the guy that people have spoken about in the past, yeah, definitely, I'd love to catch up with him. I don't recognize Nigel Ely or Eli. Sorry if I'm saying his name wrong, but yeah, there's plenty of you know the Big Phil Campions, the Mel Downs, Des Powell. I've spoken about how Des and I, author of Bravo 30, he knows all those guys from Bravo 20. They were there in country at the time, etc. He's written a book, maybe a couple of books by now. We had technical difficulties when I was trying to interview him online remotely, and then we just never reconnected. But yeah, there's plenty of those fellas that I'd love to catch up and have a chat with. Oh, Des's hips were a bit, they were a bit dodgy, more than 10 years ago. So I'm not too sure how they are now, but he was always in the gym, always keeping himself fit and active, always had a bloody 6 or 8 pack. He was shredded, man. Older gentleman at that time too. So obviously he'll be even older now. It's been more than a decade since him and I have spoken, but still sharp upstairs, can still tell a good story, based on lived experience. And there's a number of guys over there. There's a big fella that I met, one of the first guys. I never really worked with him much over there, but he went by Happy. Um, and I think the nickname was Happy Days, or maybe just Happy was the nickname. X22 guy, multiple Northern Ireland tours. He's one of the first guys I met when I got into the office in country in Iraq during the private security stuff with Pilgrim Security Group at the time. And the guys introduced me, and he's like big, tall unit. Must have been maybe, well, much taller than me, maybe 6'4", 6'5", solid built, bald guy, goatee, beard. Sorry, beard, not a goatee, ginger, from memory. Stands up, and then I got introduced to him. Put out his hand, I put out my own. He goes, "Hello, mate. I'm happy," and that was, and that was how. No smile, no change in tone. It was very monotone. "Hello, mate. I'm happy," and shook his hands. "Hey, bro, I'm Joe," and then just I think he spoke about. I think he had a question. Was talking with our team leader at the time about some work and stuff and what was coming up, and he may have been getting ready to go out on a task with one of the media clients at the time, and that was pretty much it. Interactions with him were limited. He did have a big laugh when I did hear him laughing, like one of those loud oh, 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 but 10 times louder. And it just struck me as very like, I'm here to work, very straight down the line, professional. Time to laugh, have a laugh, but otherwise, like when we're waiting in the ready room, for want of a better term, or just the office, waiting for tasks to come up, clients to come down, team leader to assign us to go on different jobs. It was just, by and large, mostly business. Or I think I may recall seeing him, either sitting around, maybe doing a little bit of reading, relaxing, sitting pretty quiet, and just waiting for a job to come up. But interesting. There's a number of people, man. Same with one of the guys that again, one of the Kiwi guys, ex-Kiwi guys, Mike Mawani. Awesome guy. He's done a whole bunch of stuff, man. I think he may still be living in Spain, but we were working together on the circuit as well. He's been around, done a heck of a lot of stuff, well connected in many different areas. I think he may be doing more video cameraing or filming, documentaries, media. Very intelligent, leans into a lot of the political space and stuff in that as well. Just a cool guy. He's definitely somebody I'd love to meet with. No, he wouldn't come and hold a camera for me. He's got two far more important things to do in terms of what he's doing. But I drop his name because he's a good dude. I did reach out to him when I was doing the podcast about wanting to interview him, but at that time he wasn't real keen. But maybe he might be open if I travelled over and did a bit of a walk and talk with the fellow. Mark Wells would also be a good interview. Yeah, bro, you're right. E-Baby Secrets. Sadi has mentioned that as well. Lewis B85. I was at a Kudo seminar with Paul Kale in Sydney. The guy is a gorilla. He looks like a gorilla online, actually, when I saw the interview. I've sparred with some X2 Commando guys on the Kudo/BJJ mat. Terrifying. There are some guys that have been putting in some reps and time for a while. They're all freakishly strong. I think there's a number of guys that just have it's a different type of strength if you haven't felt it before. Like Janai, as I use Janai, there's a freakishly different level of strength that I've never felt before. Not in the military setting, not from a gym setting, not on the mats setting. Like when you say that term gorilla with Paul Kale, like I've never wrestled with a gorilla. I would never want to, but Janai was probably the closest thing, and that was him at, dare I say, 10%, 5% use of his strength. So, I have no doubt. I'm with you, bro. I have no doubt that there are some freakishly just strong people that you don't realize. You look at them, and then you start, whether it's in the clinch, stand up, whether it's on the ground grappling, you never realized or had not felt until such time as you're in it. And then by then you're like, bloody hell, I can't get out of this. Some freaks, all right. At the same time, some freakishly strong, small guys, like I'm talking short guys, unassuming, lean, wiry guys that just have Yeah, have some freakishly strong strength too, which is unreal. NZSAS versus SAS NZ TV series. SAS NZ TV series. Are you talking about like the Who Dares Win stuff that the Brits have done in UK and Australia? Um, yeah, I'm not sure if that's what you mean. At eBaby Secrets. Uh, duh, duh, duh. Actually, funnily enough, maybe I won't go into one of the lads, ex Aussie SAS guy, sent me a message on Instagram a while ago now, just reaching out, asking, hey, bro, would you be interested? I was having a meeting with a particular media company over there in Oz, and the question came up about a potential SAS series. And he said, oh, would you be interested in helping out, supporting? I got back to, I said, hey, yeah, bro, like if that comes off, um, and if you need help, yeah, give me a yell. But otherwise, if you don't, then that's all good. So yeah, interesting. If that's what you mean, I'm not sure, but we'll see. Well, I don't know about we'll see if something like that came up. Um, yeah, depending on who they wanted and what they needed out of it. I'm guessing they've probably got a number of people that they would reach out to, depending on who was going to run something like that. If you mean me running something like that, yeah, I don't have the budget. I don't have the budget to do anything like that. Um, but yeah, I'm pretty sure you're not meaning me. Maybe it's a TV organization that might want to do it. At the same time, I guess with that, my thoughts on it, like I've never sat down and delved into watching those Who Dares Win series, not the UK one, not the Australian one, because of the snippets that I've seen on social media, and I've looked at it and I've just that's not what selection's like. I think people have watched those things, maybe or maybe not, but I think people watch it and they then think, oh, that's what selection's like. Like, wow, these people, that celebrity or that person, they passed selection. They passed essay selection. Like the TV series that people have seen, at least the bits that I've seen, like that's that's not what selection is. It's nothing like selection. There may be some activities and punishments and stuff, which probably similar to, but the other 90% of it, or 95% of it, is not selection. The directing staff are valid, legitimate people that have been through it. Yep. Some of the punishments and activities probably are to do with some of the selection elements, the mental aspects and stuff and challenges that come into play, the constant scrutiny and continuous assessment, and feeling a sense of anxiety and uncertainty. Yep, those things are part of selection, but the overall portrayal of it, and by and large, number of the other activities that are done on there, and how things are communicated, and having cameras around, and all sorts of other things, it's just not part of selection. So when people have felt like, and I think Chris Ryan mentioned this best, I'm pretty sure it was Chris Ryan. He was talking with somebody that came to one of his book signings, and the person, I think, was wearing something or a little badge, or openly said to Chris Ryan that he had done selection. And Chris Ryan said, "Oh, okay. Oh, which selection were you on? When was this?" And then he went on, proceeded to talk about the selection that he participated in like a Who Dares Wins type series. And I think Chris Ryan just sort of tried to not roll his eyes in front of the person, but spoke about, yeah, no, that's not selection. But people will be inclined to, I guess, think that is. Um, duh, duh, duh. James Williamson, SR Royal Marines. Oh, okay. I'm sorry, bro. I was way off the mark then when I was thinking, is that the American guy, Jameson's travels in documentary commando on the front line, numerous deployments in the GWAT. Okay, cool. I will look to capture these names. Well, I'll type them out after from the comments that have been put in here. So thanks for that. Chuck Norris. Yeah. He's not dead, people. People are like that. Those are fake news that's come out. Chuck Norris is not dead. But rest in peace to the men, like the Chuck Norris banter and jokes that have been around for a long time. I think even Chuck Norris found those amusing. Imagine that. eBaby Secrets, Dr. Dan Prunk, Resilience Shield, and his brother. Yeah, Dr. Dan. Yeah, there's a number of people, eh? Dr. Dan Pronk could be interesting. I don't. I am super interested. Was he? Because I still don't know. Not that I've done a lot of looking into it. I'm assuming he was a beret qualified, like he did selection, passed, and just so happened to be a doctor, or he passed selection, cycle, badged, and then changed over to be a doctor. So yeah, there's a lot I don't know about his story. I know he's been interviewed on Combat Story. Pretty sure Combat Story. He's been interviewed on the Zero Limits podcast as well. So shout out to them, Zero Limits. Actually, that is a podcast that reached out to me. So just an acknowledgement to them. We haven't been able to connect yet. That was a while ago. Then they reached out again this year, and I said I'd prefer to go and meet with them in person. So when that happens, maybe at a time when I'm going over to Australia to interview some people in person, maybe I can coordinate it, whereby if they still want to catch up with me, then I can stop by where they are. They've got a little studio set up and stuff like that, and they sound like good people. So we'll see. Three nuts on three. Would you be able to do a knot tying demonstration of the main knots you used in the SAS, please? One day, yeah, I can do that. There wasn't, like, depending on where you were, it would depend on your role. Like, and if you're doing climbing, like your alpine butterflies, your figure eights, figure eight on a bight, figure eight on a trace, reef knots, clove hitches, was it sheep shank shortening a line? That's a bow line. Those are knots that come to mind, and thankfully I can still tie all those knots. Um, the granny knot, the double granny, the thumb knot, or the stopper knot, depending on what people want to call them, for at the end of your bag when you're rappelling, all that sort of thing. I forget what it's called. Is it Fisherman's Bend? Where you're joining two ropes of unequal diameter, or is it of equal diameter? Can't remember. Man, I'd have to dust off the blinking old memory banks. I'm pretty sure there's a number of videos online, but to your specific question, main knots, the ones that I just rattled off are probably the main ones. So what did I say? Bowline, clove hitch, reef knot, nice and easy. Figure eights, figure eight on a bight, figure eight on a trace. What's the bloody alpine butterfly? Double figure eight, when you're creating your anchor systems and that sort of thing. Yeah, is that about it? Sheep shank. So what's that, about 8 or 9 or so? Off the top of my head anyway, I guess I'd have to sit down and run through. Oh, the stopper knot, like at the end of your bag, so things don't run through. So what's that, 9 or 10 knots off the top of my head? So pretty, like, as a starting point, if you've heard those, or if you're still here and you just did a Google search on those knots, you get a pretty good idea of how to do them. So yeah, thank you for that. I will look to take that on board and what's the name? Do some knots. If you can't tie knots, tie lots. So I can demonstrate that one as well. Where are we? Lewis B85. Ross Kemp, British actor who does a lot of on the ground with military. Oh, sorry. Yes, I do. The bald guy, right? If it's a guy I'm thinking of, I have seen him. Yeah, I thought he was an actor. When I seen some of his stuff, because I think I saw some of his stuff where he's like on conflict zones, front line, running around with the people. I'm pretty sure he's done stuff in the Ukraine and other areas as well, Afghanistan, if I remember correctly. I think he's been into prisons. So yeah, if I'm on the right track now, thank you for that explanation, Lewis B. Yeah, I do recognize the name now. I couldn't picture it until you said that. So if it is the bald guy that I'm thinking of, I think it is. And you said, British actor who does a lot of on the ground stuff. I think he's been into some hearty places in South Africa and that as well. Spoken with, some of the stuff I don't know. Who knows? But when I watched it, there was one part, if it's the same guy that I'm thinking of, he was talking with a group of local criminals in South Africa, blackfellas, at that time, for this particular group that he was with and talking with, who were openly bragging about raping females. Like that, I don't know. These are people that weren't incarcerated. These are people that seemed to be, from what I saw out on the streets. And he's talking, I can see the look on his face. He doesn't look happy about it, but like, yeah, that would piss me off. Like I don't see myself going to talk with people like in that sort of context. Some of the other stuff that I've seen on his of what he's done, yeah, that looks interesting. That looks like okay, cool. That's not a walk and talk interview. It's something more than what I've just described in terms of what I'm looking to do. But that particular part, that video that I saw, and I didn't watch all of it because it just got on my nerves. Like I could feel myself getting very upset with what I was listening to. These young criminals, they were all black fellas within that group that he was speaking with. I forget the name of the area within South Africa that he was talking about. I think it was South Africa, a part of South Africa. Talking about what they would do, how they'd go about doing it, and they held the knife to their throat, and they threatened them, basically tell them, "You move, then you're going to die." So then they just had to stay there and take it. Like, I've got no time to be talking to people like that. I would be liable to blink and like I wouldn't get to that stage, me personally. I wouldn't get to the stage whereby I'm gonna, oh, I'm looking forward to doing this interview with this person, like this group of people that are doing this stuff. It's like, yeah, nah, I'd be liable to, you know, do something that I shouldn't do instead. Like, yeah. Anyway, that's my thought on that one. Thank you though for the clarification at Lewis B85. Solly, would you react to crime-related content? I think that's like speaking with people that aren't in that doing that anymore. To the earlier comment that I just made with Lewis's uh, um, description, clarification on who Ross Kemp is. Like, not if they're currently involved in doing stupid crap. Like, I'm not. I think I'd be too angry to sit there and be listening to these people talking about the illegal activities and things that they're doing. Like, but if there's people like dudes like Dave from the Fresh Start or other people that have walked the path, the journey, and have gone, man, I was such an idiot. Um, I take full accountability for the bad stuff that I've done. This is what I've tried to do to try to make peace. I've tried to go through the restorative justice prep. Like people that have genuinely looked and or are continuing to genuinely look to make change. Yes, solely, I would speak with those people. But in terms of people that are currently, you know, doing stupid stuff, I don't have an interest in that personally. Like, yeah, those journalists that do go into that space and want to get actually, man, the more I think about it now, I was just about to say those journalists that do have that interest and that do want to go in for the intent of allowing a space or a platform for those people to share, I guess, their side or their version, and then they block out their face, change their voice, whatever. I get the reason for that because those people are, you know, likely still currently involved in illegal activity or whatever, and or maybe uh, targeted for Lincoln assassination, for want of a better term. Um, who knows? Let me put it this way. Right now, my answer to that, anybody that's currently doing any stupid crap, nah, like I don't have any interest. Might it be potentially something that eventuates down the track? Maybe. Depends. Again, for me, it would depend on what it is. Right now, anybody that's bragging about or part of a group that's bragging about holding a knife to females' throats and raping them is a hard no. Like, no way I'm getting involved or would want to consider sitting down. You've got here Roberto Saviano was a journalist who exposed Italian mafia and still needs 24/7 protection. In Italy, he used to move every 3 days and live in police barracks. I don't blame him. I mean, if that's what he's chosen to step into, massive respect and credit to him. Like from an investigative journalist perspective, if that's what he's chosen to do, I don't know that mine is what I'm looking to do is that you would call it investigative journalism. Some people might. I don't. I just call it a hikoi me te kōrero. So a walk and a talk, getting to know the individual that I'm fortunate to spend some time with, allowing them time and space to share some of their experiences in the hopes of helping other people learn from maybe some of their mistakes, some of their successes, what some of their aspirations are, um, aiming their process of aiming high and their version of themselves and or version of success and what it takes, etc. So uh, if that guy, Robert Saviano, was a journalist and he exposed stuff. Yeah, I'm guessing the Italian mafia, to your earlier comment, Solly, about, organized crime and murder and all that sort of stuff, doing more than terrorists, etc. I'm sure they're not very happy, and they're likely, it's widely broadcast, I suppose, in terms of how powerful organized crime organizations are. Mafia being one of those, gangs being one of those, cartels being, added to that mix, and so on and so on. Yeah, they probably didn't take very kindly to it, and unfortunately, maybe it is what it is for Mr. Saviano in terms of what he's exposed. Also, would you react to documentaries from the terrorist's point of view? React to documentaries? Yeah, I haven't seen. I have to admit, I haven't seen any documentaries from a terrorist group. So if you've got some and you want to send them through, I'm open to doing a reaction to it, giving my take. Like terrorist point of view, there'd have to be plenty of subtitles, and so my reaction videos may take even longer as I try to read what's on the screen and then try to um, give my reaction. So yeah, but I'd probably give it a crack. It sits in the reactions videos space for what I do on the channel. Would you react to documentaries from terrorists? Yeah. Would I want to go and spend any time and sit down with terrorists? Nah. Like right now, it's a no. Who knows? Maybe down the track, like I said, things may change. But man, that's that's way, way that some of that stuff that you mentioned isn't even the realm of what I've even considered. I'm just talking about going for a walk and a talk with fellas that what's the name? That I've just talked about, Shubs and Dave and Janiyah and Cameron and that sort of thing. Then hello, next minute we get getting into the Ross Kemp stuff. Well, not getting into it, but people are making comments, which is cool. Thanks for that. But yeah, that's well outside in terms of where I'm thinking at this stage, like much smaller. much smaller. Crack up. Where are we? Dan Pronk, we did that. Would you be able to not time did that? Sorry, no, I scrolled past it. And Mafia. Also in documents chat, have some content you may be interested in. Yeah, send it, bro. Send it, please, Solly, if you've got it. Apparently, Mexican cartels have sent guys to Ukrainian military to pick up skills, then come back to Mexico. No doubt. As I think one of the followers of my channel and somebody that pops into these lives, maybe it was eBaby Secrets or maybe it was Lewis B85. I think they've shared openly and spoken about people in the States that have had strong connections to crime and have gone into the Marines and learned how to conduct, not necessarily armed robberies, but how to conduct assaults and breaking and entering tactics and other things that they do over there or that they've done over there, and then taken that to their illegal activities. So why not? Why wouldn't organizations like what you've described look to take advantage of, sadly, war zone conflict situations in the hopes of trying to improve their own illegal activities? So crazy though, because in that sense, there's no guarantee that those people are coming back to even have an opportunity to train up. In this case, they're cartel members. But hey, if that's what they want to do. eBaby Secrets, Danny Green. Yeah, Danny Green would be a good podcast and interview on what he is doing after boxing career with youth. True. I don't know what he's. I know who Danny Green is. He's thinking he's a legend. That guy. It would be good. Like one of my, he was one of the PTIs, but well known within the regiment. Salty, in the Australian regiment, he's good mates with Danny Green. I haven't spoken with Salty in many years either. I wouldn't even know how or where to get in contact with him. I don't think Salty is on any social media these days. He may be, but I haven't come across him. If he is, he's very quiet. But he was doing security and stuff for Danny Green and his team and that for quite a while. Maybe he's still doing it now. I'm not sure. But yeah, Danny Green is a good dude. That would be, yeah, that's a good point. Like actually on the back end of that, like there's people here in NZ too, like sports people, whether it's those from City Kickboxing, mind you, they may be a bit overdoing interviews. Those fellas, who knows? Like I know they've done plenty of interviews. which is understandable. Like they're high profile, and people want to get in touch with them. Maybe I just leave that for later on and see how we go. But there's plenty of people, not just from City Kickboxing, but professional athletes. I would bump into Duplessis Karifi, Wellington Hurricanes captain, and All Black. Hopefully he makes the All Blacks again this year, but I'd bump into him and chat with him in the sauna here at Te Rauparaha in Porirua at the pools and sauna that they got there. Basically the Te Rauparaha Arena, where he, like Dupes, this was before he was an All Black, but still with the Hurricanes. But he was definitely would have been on the All Blacks radar, and then obviously eventually he got picked up and with the All Blacks. Hopefully he makes it again this year to the team. But he's a cool dude, man. Very down to earth. He's got some funny stuff and hard case stuff or cool stuff on social media too that he has up on Instagram at least. But definitely, like, it's just when I saw him come in, I was like, oh well, bit starstruck actually. It's like, wow, it's a Super Rugby Hurricanes captain fella, and then to see him, make it into the All Blacks, and then for him to be so friendly and just no ego and talking to anyone and everyone that was in the room in the sauna space at the time was pretty cool. And so then it became very easy to just say hello to him, have a chat with him. He'd ask questions, I'd ask him questions, and yeah, good dude. He's by no means, I'm not saying that he's a mate of mine, because he's not. I don't know him like as a mate. He's got plenty of people that he would call mates. I just have been fortunate a number of times to be at the pools and have a few conversations with him, as have many other people that have gone there. So there were a few people there that knew him quite well. A South African fella, JT, who works with the New Zealand Police Force here. So shout out to JT. He knows Dupes quite well, to the point whereby he gives him a bit of stick. It's probably that South African side of JT as well that's coming through and giving it to us Kiwis in general. But yeah, I could hear them having a good banter and a good laugh between the two of them. So yeah, Dupes just seems like a very easy, down to earth person. Talks to anybody, is polite, humble, respectful, and has a good sense of humor. So definitely, there's plenty of people I'd love to do a walk and talk with, and many of them are just here in our backyard. Lewis B85, Rusty from, that's another name, X22 guy. Instructor has said Who Dares Wins has more in common with All Arms Commando and P Company than SAS Selection. Oh, well, that's interesting. I've never heard that. Okay. Has said Who Dares Wins has more in common with All Arms Commando and P Company than SAS Selection. Interesting. My personal take is, even though that's the SAS motto, and it's relevant, I think, and it's holds a special place within the unit, I would extend that a bit further and say Who Dares Wins extends to any part of anybody's life, no matter whether they've served or not, if they catch the vision of those three simple words, Who Dares Wins, and they take that and they apply it to whatever. Who Dares Wins. You want to start a social media channel? You want to start doing walk and talk interviews? You want to go on Instagram? You want to do TikTok? You want to do whatever, live streams? You want to start a business? You want to learn a new skill? Whatever. Like, you apply, or if you use those words, Who Dares Wins, to that, like, I think that would drive most people, if not all people, that are genuine about doing that thing that they want to do, to get after it and just go all in and give their best. And just keep persisting through the failures, through the heartache, through the criticism, through the dark times, through the technical difficulties, whatever comes up, and just crack on. Like, you'll get there in the end. And keep the other important part, I think, is keeping the positive talk, like quietening the doubt that can and may creep in, quietening the fear that may come in. And how you do that is going to be different for each person. But I think staying the course in terms of, and talking to yourself of, when I get there and when I do this or when I achieve this, is much more powerful than going, or what if I don't, or what if this happens, or what if they don't like me, or what if they don't respond, or what if the business fails, what if nobody likes what I'm doing or wants to buy what I have. Those things they just like feel super negative as you start spurting them out. Whereas if you can change that, whatever way, shape, or form that is for the person, what if I win? What if I succeed? Or what about when I get here? Or when I get through this? Or when I achieve this thing? Or although this hasn't worked, I'll try something else, and finding solutions, like the problem solving aspect of it. I think who dares wins carries a lot of weight, regardless of who you are, where you're from, what you do. That's just my take anyway, in terms of where I would take that. But acknowledging what you've shared in terms of what Rusty Furman has expressed. Rubber Kiwi, still got your beret, Joe? Can we see it? Yeah, I do. I do still have it. I've still got my infantry beret as well. Can we see it? Dun, dun, dun. It's been in the background of other videos. Here's my infantry one, the Royal New Zealand Infantry Regiment, green beret. It's a different green to this green these days, like the ones that they have. I don't like the ones that they have these days. It's a darker green, and I think they maybe have a generic. I think it might be just the one sort of beret for the majority of the New Zealand Army these days. Don't quote me on that. I think it may be. So that's my New Zealand one. No, I'm not going to put it on because my fat head can't fit either of my berets anymore. I thought I was supposed to shrink when I got older, but I think maybe my head has gotten fatter. But yeah, that's the beret. Still got that. I kept that. And then yeah, the old Sandy beret is still here. Can't fit this one anymore either. My head is too fat. What have I got? Just got the padding and stuff on the inside. Safety pin is still there to keep that in place so that it keeps its shape when it goes on your head. Yeah, that's the two side by side. My wife's one is up there too. Oops. So yeah, who was that asked that question? Saltmarsh, yeah, salty. Sorry, just coming back. Rubber Kiwi. So yeah, there's the berets, bro. Hadn't been asked that question before. Can we see them? I tried to anticipate in case your next question was, can you put it on your head so you can see it? It's like, yeah, no, head is too fat now. Or no, actually, maybe not my head is too fat. I think these shrunk, you know. That's what happens when you start getting bigger too, from what I heard. So I'm going to be using that as I get bigger and my clothes start shrinking, because not because I've gotten fat, but because my clothes have shrunk. That's why. So I reckon these have just shrunk over time sitting on the shelf. Any beret experts out there, back me up on that one. Give me an assist, a tautoko there, and say, yeah, your beret actually does shrink, and if you've got some evidence that supports that, then that will make me feel even better. But yeah. Here are we. eBay Zero Limits is good up near Newcastle Way. Damien Tomlinson, Without Warning, also another good podcast. Oh, cool. Okay, Without Warning, I haven't heard of that one, but I'd take your word for it in terms of it being a good podcast. Zero Limits, from what I can tell, is a good podcast. I have reached out to. There have been people that asked. I have reached out to not Jamie Pinnell, but I will reach out to him. Whether or not he responds is another different story. But I have reached out to an ex-Kiwi SAS guy, seeing if he would be interested. And at this stage, it's a no. Like, similar sort of thing. Do a walk and talk. At this stage, it's a no. So that's all good. So I expect that will be the case, and understandable too. Like, even when I was doing the Epic Aotearoa podcast, I got a heck of a lot of requests. You would have been surprised, like more requests than I did for other people, but I got a whole bunch of requests asking me to interview more ex-Kiwi SAS guys. Because at the time, it was, like, Bill Bestick was the first one that I'd interviewed for the start of that In the Service of Others Who Dares was one series. And then pretty much after that, the majority after were, coming from Australia, which I had no issue with. Like, it was cool to me. Some of the Aussie lads I didn't personally know and didn't serve with, but some of them I did know and did serve with. So that was awesome. And there was a whole bunch of others that were scheduled as well. But there were a heck of a lot of requests for Kiwi guys. And so I did reach out to some, and some did come on. So from memory, obviously Bill Bestick, had Phil Hokianga, had Chris Kumaro, had Mids, had Pup Johnson, Greg Pup Johnson. So there's about 5, I think. And apologies if I've missed anybody else. I tried to get Willie. The closest I got was doing a Anzac Day sort of walk around, followed him around in the community into the RSA. Then we had to sit around at his place with some of his friends and had a bit of a chat about Anzac Day and what it meant to them, etc. There might have been some other stuff that came up. I think that video is still on YouTube somewhere, but I can't remember exactly what we spoke about. But Willie's very private, very reserved. What you see is what you get, and he's, I think he's, and rightly so. I think he's had a gut full of, being on the camera. If there's something that is near and dear to him and important, I think that's when he will come out and speak about things. So obviously there was a bit of news when he handed in his Victoria Cross because of the way he felt veterans were being poorly treated, not being treated, and that sort of thing. I think there's been, well, I don't know if there's been too many other things that have come about. I think when he was recognised or received an honorary WO1 rank, Warrant Officer Class 1 rank, he still, supports the military and is asked to come in and speak, I believe, at different times and different things. So, the fella's probably just a bit hoo-ha. Would he do a walk and talk with me? Hey, I can only ask, eh? He can only say no. Maybe it'd be a way, he's a gun with the horses. So I'm not a gun with horses. So maybe it might be a way whereby I'll say, hey, bro, like, I'll come sit on the horse. We'll go for a walk and talk on the back of the horse out on your property somewhere or whatever. But I'd love to. But again, acknowledging he is likely, I would imagine, still in very high demand. People, dare I say, bombarding him. And he's just probably, I can't even imagine. He's just like, yeah, nah, it's all right. So I did invite him on a couple of things, heard back from him, and he declined them politely, kindly declined those invitations to participate in those things. And so those weren't interviews, but there were some other things. And that was all good. So, people have their time is precious and important, and like each to their own. The other person that comes to mind, which people have also shared, was Mark Donaldson. Yeah, I'd love to catch up with him, do a walk and talk with that fellow as well. Been a long, long time since I've caught up with him. I'm not sure what he's up to these days, but again, he's likely still in high demand, and just probably, again, I can't even imagine, but they're probably just over being on camera doing interviews, maybe in the traditional sense of the word. So maybe on the back of a horse out on Willie's property, me trying to keep my balance while trying to hold the camera, whatever, might be something that he might want to do. Who knows? Anyway, at the end of the day, he can only say no. But where was I going with that in terms of the Kiwi side of things? I did reach out to a number of other Kiwi guys, but yeah, they weren't willing to or weren't ready to at that time, and that's okay. So it was what it was, and it is what it is, and people at different stages of where they're at, will either accept or decline. I think, actually, from memory, I think I spoke with Jamie way back then, long before he's written his book and been on social media and done a whole bunch of interviews. So again, there's another fellow that's probably a bit over it. He's been on Between Two Beers. Not that they're a bad show, like they're cool. He's been on Between Two Beers. He's been on television. He's been on a whole bunch of other podcasts and shows, interviewed by television personalities and media, and non-mainstream. So he might be a bit over it too, but yeah, and he might be just along the lines of, oh man, if people want to know a bit more about me, they can just go check out these other interviews. And if that's the answer that he gives, well, that's the answer that he gives. Like, but I can try. So when I did reach out to him way back before, he wasn't. It wasn't something that he was looking to do at that time. So yeah, I respect that. Anyway, where are we? Sorry, I've got to scroll back up to some of the Socceroos. No, and got to that double granny, not Pisa. Yeah. Yeah, the stopper knot, double ground knot, zero limit. So we got that. 3 nuts there. But to the question that was asked, like that was a regular knot in terms of what was regularly used for that fit for its purpose anyway. So the rope doesn't come through the other end. Where are we? Would you interview terrorists, Joe? Yeah, not. So you got here, Jason Fox. SBS met with a former Taliban commander. So yeah, to former, like former inmates, former criminals, former terrorists. I'd be open to that. Like I could say that here and now. People that are currently doing stupid crap like that, like current terrorists, current criminal, current whatever, doing something bad. No, not interested. Yeah, at this time anyway. You know, as I sit here and look at that question, even think about it, I can't see a time where that might potentially change, but it's definitely not in the realm right now. Former, yeah, I'd be open to that because I'd be interested, to get an insight and understanding, going from being in that space to okay, then why are you not doing that now? What's caused the turnaround? Were you tempted to volunteer in war zones like volunteers who fought ISIS in or Russia and Ukraine? Yes, I was. The short, simple answer to that. When Ukraine was happening and kicking off, like I did and was interested in volunteering and having a look at that. I didn't volunteer. I was interested in looking at it though, not for the purposes of I felt what was happening over there and still do feel what was happening over there was wrong. Like Russia coming in and invading Ukraine, I didn't like it. So, and I still don't like it. But yeah, like I have responsibilities here with wife and children. If I was single, I would have been gone. Yeah, So that's my take. Like I know, I know myself reasonably well. If I was on my own, and even if I still had children, but say my wife and I are separated or divorced or whatever, and I'm on my own, I'm single, like I would have been gone. The fact that I'm married, we have children. Oh yeah, and we got all going well. We got grandbabies on the way, nearing the end of this year. They're due, so we're excited. I'm excited about that. Looking forward to that. Yeah, like I've got other responsibilities which to me are more important. And although I may not have saw that when I was serving in the military, and I definitely wasn't really thinking that way, if I'm being brutally honest. When I was in the unit, like I've said multiple times, the people in the work was just awesome, and it's what I wanted to do. But over time, definitely that's changed and where I'm at now. So yeah, were you tempted? Yeah, I was tempted. No, I'm not wired to go over there and look to participate in that. Not with my family situation, how it is now, and how it has been. Not how it is now, but how it has been for many, many years, and how some might say I've just woken up to myself in terms of what I actually have. So yeah, not good in terms of me realizing that later. And I don't mean I've just realized that now, by the way. So yeah, look at me trying to defend myself now. At Lewis B85, it's why outside of work I have no interest in true crime. Yeah, I say this as a third generation police constable. Wow, respect, bro. Third generation police constable. Outside of work, I have no interest in true crime. Yep, fair enough. I can't even imagine the stuff that you've seen, bro, and come across and have to process and put up with. It's hard work. First responders, police work, hard work, no matter how you slice it and dice it, no matter where you're doing it. Yeah, so respect, bro. Cheers for that. Jabs, Philpot, two's up, the Socceroos. Are they winning? Are they playing at the moment? Who are they playing? What's the score? Or you mean they're two up? Or you referring to two up, the old Anzac tradition. Socceroos, Evo secrets, don't need those headaches in life. family, interviewing people coming from adversity to success through lived, oh bloody hell, my slow reading, sorry, through, where am I? Through lived experiences, who is making global difference. Saltmarsh, the man that defined the term pain is weakness leaving the body. There you go. Yeah, 100%. He's a good man, all right. He's a bloody weapon as well in terms of what he is doing, or what he has done, and no doubt likely continues to do. I don't know what he's doing these days, but I'm sure it's good stuff. People could learn a heck of a lot from him, man. Like training, programming, yeah, not only his hardness, which you've rightly identified, but there'd be a lot of, like, I never got to spend a lot of time with Salty because he was usually just thrashing us for PT. I think, if anything, if we could have, as operators, once you're in, if we could have avoided Salty's PT sessions, we would have. But I think at the same time, I say that tongue in cheek, I think at the same time, because we knew the type of man Salty was, and we knew that we were going to get hammered in PT, I think that's also what drove us to go to his sessions. So if there was a session that was being run by Salty, planned and ready to go, like our troop from memory, and I believe the squadron would rock up, go do that session. If there wasn't necessarily one from Salty, then that's where, a lot of flexibility, we still had the flexibility to do our own training, either individually in our teams, squadron, troop, or squadron. Yeah, Salty. Carl McGowan. I recall a prison riot in Scotland. The SAS were sent into the booby-trapped prison unarmed. Not long after they went in, they brought out all the prisoners. Oh, interesting. Wow. I've never heard of that. Recall a prison riot in Scotland. SAS were sent into the booby-trapped prison unarmed. That's an interesting call in and of itself. Two things: sending in the regiment and sending them in unarmed. Yeah, but oh well. And they brought out all the prisoners. I think, there's no guarantee, but my experience in the reintegration space, and not just reintegration space, but with people in general, if not if, but as and when conversations sort of weave around and get to a point whereby people ask, whereby you ask about somebody or they ask about you, and or the group that you're in, or one-to-one, and you start to get an insight into people's background and what they've done or where they're from or whatever. I found in my time, even just from a military perspective, not even any mention of SAS, just from a military perspective, there always has seemed to be, uh, and first responders, people that I know of that are first responders in that police space and that as well, fire department, etc., paramedics. There's generally, has been my experience, been warmly received, and um, an almost instant sort of respect for that person. I know I've done it when I've met people that are former police and or current police or paramedics or firefighters, etc. And I've been the recipient of that type of warmth, for want of a better term, from people, and that's cool. So whether they've been criminals or inmates, or just everyday Joe Public like me and others, I've found that. And so where I was going with that reintegration space comment and what you spoke about there, or what I was trying to respond to, is that I've been fortunate that more often than not, I've generally been welcomed or received in a positive way when speaking with people, regardless of what stage of life people are at, or where they've come from. And in turn, that's a large part of what drives me as well, to try to treat people the same as what you and I might like to be treated. If somebody, again, is going to be a bit of a twat, and they have an off-putting energy, so to speak, that comes across as arrogant or rude or loud or obnoxious or confrontational, well, most people, me included, are going to look to match that energy and or that sarcasm, and or look to, dare I say, bait other people as well, or bait the other person as well, if that's the vibe that they are putting off, and if that's how I or somebody else is interpreting it. So yeah, sometimes, you know, that old saying, be careful what you wish for, and that sort of thing runs both ways, you know, not just for me, but runs the same for the other person or other people as well. Uh, doesn't guarantee anything by any means. I'm not somebody that proclaims or professes that can go out and deal to anybody, because that's just not the case. But I would, if moments presented themselves like that and it was about to escalate, all I can say is I'm not backing down. So I may not win, but I'm not backing down, and I don't care. So, but that's why I think it's important to try not to let things get to that stage. Um, but there's just, you just can't control everything, and there's just no controlling or helping some people that maybe just have some poor on wiring upstairs, or they just potentially, maybe they just don't care as well. That's is interesting. The unarmed, the Scotland prison unarmed. Where are we? That's where I was up to. Scotland unarmed. Blah blah blah. Brought them out. Cool. X22 SAS. RSM wrote on this in his book, Eye of the Storm. Oh, okay. He was there. The 22 guys had to climb on the edge of a very high roof to make entry. He says the so called hard prisoners reacted weakly. Wow. Had to climb on the edge of a very high roof to make entry. He says the so called hard prisoners reacted weakly. One of the prisoners accused the 22 accused A, or the 22 guys, of assaulting him, and this 22 guy had to go to court, but behind a screen to protect his anonymity. Wow, that's incredible. Well, good on them. Obviously, a good call. I don't think he was convicted. Good. Well, so he shouldn't be. Like, again, you know, you're going to ask and send soldiers, regardless of whether they're from 22 SAS or not. But you're going to send them overseas to fight in a war. You're going to send them into a prison to try to obviously de-escalate the situation, which it sounds like they did, and they brought people out. Yeah, there might have needed to be a few hiss huss husses in there, a few blink, and maybe a few headbutts and a few elbows and knees and punches and other things needed to be uh, implemented to regain the initiative and, dare I say, gain compliance in some instances. But you shouldn't be getting charged for it after the fact, going to court and having to defend yourself, especially if all the person got was just a black eye and blink and maybe a broken nose and a couple of missing teeth. Maybe it helped improve their looks. Actually, don't get me started on that. Bloody hell. I came across some people sent me through that. Have you heard of that looks maxing? Bloody these idiots, they go around, get a hammer, they call bone smashing. These are males too, from what I understand. I think females may do it too, but from the videos that I've been sent, it's I forget the person's name. Looks Maxine is all the craze or the rage at the moment. I don't know if I'm behind the ball. I haven't looked at the date of when this stuff is out, but there are some weirdos out there. Say this is a hammer, this little tripod holder thing, and they are smashing or whacking their face and parts of their bloody their face, their head, for the purposes of, what did it say? For your damages, the bones or whatever, and then they reset or regrow or reconnect together in a better way or another way or whatever. And these people that are doing it, they look, I don't know, they look like aliens to me, man. They look like they're from another planet. It just looks odd. It's going to the extreme, whoever these people are that are doing this sort of stuff. So, yet to react to that, I actually got a, I think I've got a little bit of an idea to what I'll do for those ones that have been sent through. A bit of a, I guess, a comedy or a bit of a laugh in terms of that one, and some other stuff that I've since had a look at after receiving this looks maxing bloody Yahoo rubbish. Anyway, I digress. That's enough of that one. Why did I bring that up? I think I was talking about the, you know, the lad having to defend himself in court. That's how, yeah, as I was saying, because one of the prisoners might have had some missing teeth or whatever, and might have improved their looks. Where are we? Kyle McGowan. Is it true that the 22SA soldiers don't refer to the motif, motto as who dares wins, but who cares who wins? Nah. There might be some dry humor, shared by people within the unit. Um, and some people may take that as gospel or think that that's what the motto is, or that's what they believe the real motto is. It would depend on context. I have heard "Who cares who wins" used, not just from 2-2, but in other parts and in other units, similar units as well. um, but it's the motto is always "Who dares wins." But in my experience, like the "Who cares who wins" um, depends on the context, what's happening at the moment or in that moment, and yeah, and who's involved. Basically, like there's a lot more context to it. So yeah, there probably are, or not probably, there are people that would use that term that you've just shared. Who cares who wins? But you've got here, is it true that 2-2 soldiers don't refer to the motto as "Who dares wins"? Well, no, that's not true. Um, or I've not known that to be true anyway from any of the 2-2 guys that I know. eBaby Secrets, "Who dares wins" says basically step into the vulnerability. Yeah, fail fast, fail forward. It's all about your strong why, not the how. As like-minded people find others alike to navigate journey forward. Yeah, beautiful, awesome. Solly, I've heard that was the case in the documentary SAS The Real Story. X22 guy said that. Said what? Who cares who wins? So there again, maybe the guys that are have been in 2-2, maybe that is, if you've got an X22 guy saying that, they would know better than I would from the 2-2 perspective. It's not been my experience to um, hear that replacing the "Who dares wins" motto with the guys that I know anyway. Not that I know massive amounts, but I've definitely heard the "Who cares who wins," and I've typically heard it used in jest, not as a replacement for the motto. Great series, but unfortunately, only one ep seems to be available online. Oh, okay. It's in YouTube. Cheers, Solly. Lewis Rusty was involved in that raid at the prison. He tells the story on his YouTube channel. Wow, okay. Crack up. Man, there must have been some chaos happening in there, I would imagine. Solly, interesting. Thanks, Lewis. And they weren't unarmed. They had axe handles. The reason why they didn't want the possibility of a prisoner getting their hands on a trooper's firearm. Yeah, that's a good point in terms of having something. I would have thought, whether an asp baton or something like that, axe handle. That's hard to. I mean, you get enough prisoners swarming one person, they're going to rip that off the person. You can do some damage with that. Obviously, likely a heck of a lot more damage with a firearm. But yeah, it would have been. I would have thought it would have been, SAS operator or not. It would be daunting going into a prison unarmed, like without something. So whether or not they, whether that's what they did, went in unarmed, or whether they had an axe bat or axe handle or whatever, yeah, like still daunting, regardless of how you cut it. Maybe, or not maybe, less daunting if you're with a group of hitters and or if you outnumber the prisoners. But I'm assuming the lads didn't outnumber the prisoners in there. But I would also assume that communication was probably made to the prisoners that, hey, we're sending the lads in from Hereford. So you guys are either want to come out or, you get what you get. Crack up. Be cool to hear, people talking about that, from both perspectives. Former prisoners that were on the other side, like watching the lads come in, as well as the operators, or from some operators that went in. That'd be an interesting conversation, I reckon. Anyway, and to have them both like in the same room or talking, walking and talking together, that would be an interesting conversation. Probably be some laughs in there, and it'd be interesting to hear the different perspective and view, what the prisoners were potentially thinking before the lads rocked up and got in, what the operators are thinking, what they saw and what they felt, and what happened once they were, it was all in essentially, in the aftermath and all that sort of thing. Be funny. Well, I think it'd be funny. Navy SEAL Eric, Damien, and Jocko said, this from Solly. So I have got those vids as well that you've sent, or the ones that you've sent. I don't know if it's these ones that you're talking about, but I haven't seen them yet. 10% of SEALs are really bad. Similar for Oz NZSAs. Navy SEAL Eric, Damien, and Jocko said 10% of SEALs are really bad. Really bad, like really bad. Is there further context to that, Solly? Really bad at like really bad human beings, or really bad like soldiering in general, really bad shooters, operate like, not sure. Then you've got similar for Oz NZSAs. Nah, again, without having the context, if I was to make some assumptions and try to talk about some of the stuff, I never saw 10% of really bad, more so to the Australian unit, right? Because I never served in NZ, so I don't have firsthand experience of serving side by side with badged NZ guys. Like, that's just the reality. I could only speak to that from a, or not even from a selection or cycle perspective, because you're not in the unit on selection or cycle. You're striving to get to the unit, So more so from the Australian perspective, I never saw any Aussie guys. I don't know how he come up with 10%, or how these guys have come up with 10%, but I'll leave that up to them. To your question, really bad at what? I don't know. Similar for Australian SAS. I know you've got Oz/NZ, but I'll just stick with Oz SAS. Like, again, I don't even have any context. 10% of Oz regiment guys, really bad at shooting. No, I never saw that. The guys that are in, like, you got to earn your keep, and you got to constantly be able to prove that you can, and nobody's giving you a free pass. Like, the ranges are open, and they're electronically scored, and you've got the instructors coming down with you on your targets. You've all got the same number of rounds. You need to be hitting your targets with your ammunition. If you think you're going to swing over a couple of rounds to old mate because you like them, and they haven't hit their target, so you're going to, do them a solid and put some rounds into their target so that they pass. Nah, because the backlash of that, the repercussions of that, is that you then potentially go on a job, and you knowingly, or that one of your mates can't shoot properly, like can't hit the target. So no, there is no, bro, do me a solid and hit my target for me, would you? It's like, you hit your target, validate, or see you later. Like, if you can't validate, like, then they're not, and you try, you fail the retests as well, and it's within the parameters of what is consistently done and usually done, and what the expectation and requirement is. Well, then, sorry, bro. Yeah, like, you're a liability, essentially. Interesting. So maybe you might come up with some things down the bottom as I get through these questions. How did the New Zealand 2-2 soldiers get into the UK's squadron? Oh, they went through the selection, bro. Great question. They had to go through selection. So UK, at least during my time, and from what I understand now, has always been, like, if you say you're in the New Zealand SAS or the Australian SAS, if you want to go and join the UK SAS, you've got to do their selection. During my time here in the Defence Force in NZ, did the NZ selection, did the cycle, didn't get badged, and then I applied to go over and join the Australian regiment. Had to go through selection cycle again. Finally, got through it all and got badged, and then went to a squadron. If I was to apply to go to the UK, it was already common knowledge. If you want to go to the UK, you apply. If it's accepted, you do the selection. That's what I've always loved about it. I've been asked that question: do I think members from other SAS units should have to do the selection course of other countries? Yeah, my answer is yes. That's what I think. And I think I've shared in the past, without knowing exactly the words that I shared, but along the lines of, just because you pass one, my opinion, doesn't mean you would pass in other countries. Like, probably a higher probability that you will, given if you've gone and passed one, and especially gone on to serve within that unit, etc., before going over. As long as you're, physically capable and well, which most of the guys usually are for a very long period of time, deep into their careers within the unit, because of the requirements and the need to stay at a high level physically, mentally. it's they have a much higher chance, is my take and been my observation of those that have passed one and then go to another one. But I still think they should still have to go through it. Why? Because then it removes and eliminates, this is just my thought, it eliminates any backhanded comments around suggestions that an individual has backdoored their way into the unit, whereby everybody else there has had to go through the process. So yeah, that's how those guys, to your question, got there. Kyle Morgan, how did the Kiwi guys that are in 2-2 get there? They went through selection. There's probably some Kiwi guys there that are in 2-2 that maybe didn't do, or maybe weren't members of the NZSAS, but there's been quite a bunch that were former members of the NZ unit here, and then went over and then did the UK selection, passed it. From what I understand, they passed well, and then went on to serve. Corey Gardner, what does Pup do these days? I think he's doing a lot of outdoor stuff down the South Island, plus still a lot of advocacy for like mental health stuff, TBI, traumatic brain injury stuff, and that as well. I think he's quite active in that space and trying to get some results or support. Actually, I should probably send him a message. There's another one I need to do a walk and talk with. Like, you see, like there's all these all these people. But yeah, he was doing some outdoor, not adventure stuff, or maybe it's adventure, outdoor stuff with groups and things. I think ages ago when he was on the podcast, he was helping with the military part-time. Yeah, I think he may still be doing that. I'm not sure to what extent, or if he's doing that at all these days. I could be wrong though. From memory, seems like a crack up, good dude. Yeah. I never served with him as well. He was from the Mexican unit down in 2nd 1st Battalion. I think he was at 1st Battalion for a bit, but then he betrayed us and went down south. Nah, just joking. But yeah, he went down to 2nd 1st Battalion. He was down there, and I think he did selection from there as a member of 2nd 1st, and then went on selection and then carried on and had a really solid career from all accounts within the New Zealand unit. But yeah, he is definitely a good man. Kyle, have any of the SAS, whether in New Zealand, Australia, or the UK soldiers, ever received the VC? Yep. Yep, there's a few. Just have to go online and have a bit of a search. I couldn't speak to lads from the UK, not in recent times. I think the more recent ones have been from Australia, Mark Donaldson and Ben Robert-Smith, and from New Zealand, most recent has been Willie Apiata. Actually, in Australia, I think there is from the regiment perspective, those two, Dono and RS, and then there have been, or there is at least one or maybe two others from the Australian Defence Force who have also, and rightly so, received the VC as well, but they weren't they didn't serve with the SAS, but they were on operations during the Global War on Terror, etc., and did some incredibly heroic things, and so rightly earned and received the VC as well. From the UK, I haven't seen any from the UK SAS perspective in terms of recent Victoria Cross winners. I could be wrong. Maybe there's some people on here that know, but I do know of there's some UK lads that have received the award just below the Victoria Cross. I think it's the CGC, Conspicuous Gallantry Cross, which is, they've done some incredible. How and or why it's not a Victoria Cross, I don't know. But CGC is right up there. At least it was anyway, from memory, as the second highest military award in the UK military system, from memory. And yeah, how that's not a VC, I don't know. It may be, and this is just my thought here, I could be wrong, it may be that the person or persons were that have received the CGC in the UK, it may be they were deemed to have earned the Victoria Cross, but because as far as I know, I've never been awarded a Victoria Cross, right? But as far as I know, from what I understand, the person that has been deemed to earn it and be awarded it has the option to accept it or not. So those that are more across this sort of military stuff than I am, I'm going off what I've heard, and I think I heard that in an interview ages ago whereby the media person was interviewing a Victoria Cross recipient, and I think the person's response was, "Well, that they're accepting it on behalf of their team and the people that they're with." Who knows? Maybe it was one of those three recent ones. Maybe it was Dono or RS or Willie. I'm not sure, but from what I understand, I think a person that has deemed to have earned a Victoria Cross has the option to accept it or decline it. So maybe in the case of the UK lads with the CGC, maybe they chose, maybe they chose not to, because I think the rationale behind it is a VC is such a prestigious, rightly so prestigious and high award, or the highest award, equivalent to the US Medal of Honor, that they then have to, I think for some reason legally, don't ask me why, that they have to release their identity, which is just, blows my mind, especially when Dono and RS were still serving in the unit and Willie was still serving in the unit. Like, why? Surely, if you can redact and go to Senate hearings and hide things, and the Senate hearings just seems a waste of time and not show stuff, surely you would think there could be a clause that you could have in place to protect the anonymity and the identity of a person who's been deemed worthy. That's not the right word, but that's the only word that comes to mind. Who has earned the Victoria Cross? Surely you could have a clause, or there's a clause that would enable their identity and therefore their family, those closest to them, the protection that they deserve, because especially if they're still active serving members. Fair enough. If once they get out, maybe there's a clause that, okay, we can now share the identity of who that Victoria Cross winner was or is. But yeah, I thought that was weird while they're serving, that the identity is just broadcast everywhere, videos, photos, interviews, etc., which is pretty uncomfortable for all the Victoria Cross recipients that you've seen, including those three and many others. I'm pretty sure they all look and sound and feel very uncomfortable, that now all of a sudden this is happening. Cameras are blinking, flashes are going off everywhere, and they're seeing their video and their photo face everywhere. People are then calling out to them, asking, "Can you come here? Can you speak at this? Can you do that?" Again, I could not even imagine the just the admin and the to-ing and fro-ing and the conversations that are happening. And so long-winded answer to your question. I can't speak to the UK ones. That's just where my mind went in response to your question in and around the UK stuff. There may be some other comments on here. I've seen my thing just scroll up again, whereby people, maybe they'll drop the names of some of those UK 2-2 soldiers or SBS soldiers that have been awarded the VC. And like I said, there's likely a heck of a lot of stuff you can't tell me over 20 years of fighting and operations that these countries have been through, that there have not been moments and situations where the boys have done some super heroic, courageous, maybe some might look at it and say absolute out the gate blinking crazy stuff that warrants respect, that warrants recognition, that warrants being awarded some type of medal for their recognition. Like, you're not convincing me otherwise that stuff hasn't happened. I have no doubt it has. And some of the stories that I've heard from some of the lads, that I have not seen out and about, and I'm not going to try to regurgitate them, because by then you're getting it from me, which is second, third hand by then. It wouldn't do the actual actions and what took place any justice if I tried to recall, what happened and I wasn't there. You'd much rather hear it from the people or the person that was on the ground, right? Well, I would anyway. There's a bunch of interesting sorties or stories in Ratcliffe's Eye of the Storm book. I can send some extracts, Joe. I'm conscious you're busy and get loads of requests. Yeah, if you want to send them through, I'll have a look at them. Yeah. Hey, Solly, it's better to be busy than not busy, I reckon. And then in terms of managing it, that's on me to manage. So if I'm fortunate to have people like you, or like yourself, that are willing to take time out of your day, out of other people's day, or people to take time out of their day and want to send stuff for me to have a look at, or things that they think I might be interested in, etc., that's awesome. Like, yeah, send it, bro, if you would like, and know that it's appreciated, even if I don't say it all the time. What's this, Kyle? Do you mean clavicular? Clavicular? Nope. Not sure what I might have been talking about then, or what you mean at Kyle McGowan. Nah, clavicular isn't what I mean. You'd have to remind me of what I was talking about. Again, I missed your comment. eBaby Secrets, a podcast. David Mason, ex-lawyer who joined the French Foreign Legion and then joined Australia ADF. Wow, lawyer, French Foreign Legion, ADF. He is famous for walking across Australia with camels. Camels are at Cable Beach. Excuse me. Where are we? Camels are at Cable Beach, Broome, WA. Oh, wow. Far out. Yeah, I've not heard of him. David Mason. Geez, there's a desk jockey, some might say, lawyer to French Foreign Legion. Definitely complete contrast to the Australian ADF, to then walking across Australia with camels. Holy heck. Geez, there's an interesting person to do a walk and talk with. Again, he might do a blinking David Goggins on me and blink and destroy me on a walk and talk. There's somebody there with some stories, with which I don't think you can get through in one session. There's clearly multiple sessions for that. It was Chris Ryan who said it about the Who Dares Wins. He did say it was said only by two soldiers. I should have been a bit clearer. Oh, okay. Yeah, well, hey, Chris Ryan, that fella knows better than anyone in terms of 2 decades of service, what he's been through, the people that he knows, his connections to the unit. If he's saying that's what two guys are saying. Like I said, I've heard people say that from those types of units. Who cares who wins? But I've never heard it or heard it said by any of the guys to the point of it replacing the actual motto of Who Dares Wins. But yeah, there may be some that have that opinion. But cheers, Kyle. All good. Solly, they outnumbered the prisoners after X days. Okay, only a small amount prisoners. Still had freedom with a prison officer. Still had freedom. So they had a prison officer hostage. Oh yeah, as hostage. Keep reading, Joe. Bloody hell. They were closed off in a part of the prison. Hence, Tutu had to use a roof. Okay, so they barricaded, blocked themselves into, or secured themselves into a portion of the prison. Yep, which I get. That is some of what happens in riots and within those correctional facilities, etc. We've had our share of riots and stuff. Some of them spill out over the fences and beyond those little areas where they may have initially cordoned themselves off or barricaded themselves in. But yeah, some can go gangbusters, for want of a better term, and spread out. So that's interesting. Closed off part of the prison, hence Tutu to use a roof. All right, to gain entry, handful of prisoners like under 10. All right, cool. Under 10, yeah, well, that's you could easily go a 2-to-1 with operators going into that environment, even if the space is small. Be surprised how many people you can jam into spaces, operators or not. 10% bad as in character. Oh, okay, and maybe soldiering skills too, but definitely bad character. Okay, thanks for that, Solly. Gives a bit more context. Again, for me, from the Australian side, no, I didn't see. I personally didn't see any like guys that I thought had bad character. Yeah, sure, I saw guys, and I've openly shared that, people that I didn't necessarily like, and people that I probably wouldn't hang out with outside of work. But not to the point of where I looked at them and thought they are of low character or poor character. Some people just, have a personality that's a bit louder and out there than other people. Didn't mean that they were a bad person or that they were a bad character, to me anyway. Some people just had different interests, like from music to drinking to going out clubbing to, whatever it might be. Like just trying to think off the top of my head here. That's how hard it is to think in terms of me and whether or not there was 10% bad character people in the Australian regiment. I didn't encounter it. Like I like to think it would have stuck out to me if there were people of low character or bad character. But yeah, the fact that for me it doesn't stand out to me. There's nothing that comes uh, bomb bursting back into the forefront of my mind around anything like that, or people of that sort of character, as you've mentioned here. Yeah, no, I never saw it, and therefore I wouldn't say it's the same as what Jocko and the other person were mentioning about the SEALs. Sad if that is the case. I mean, I think if that's the case, then maybe it's just an acceptable tolerance for their selection process. That might be one, or maybe there's something missing in their selection process in terms of what they're looking for and how they go about identifying that or drawing that out. You know, again, no process is perfect. I've openly shared, lemons get through in any organization. The essays is no different, and I've openly shared, maybe I was one of those lemons that snuck through, that got through the hinaki and got into the unit. So hopefully I wasn't, but that's for other people to decide and make their call on. That's not for me, because naturally I'm going to say I wasn't. Yeah, where are we? So yeah, that's my take. Those couple of things there. No system is perfect. Bad apples likely do and will get through in any organization, and maybe the selection process or aspects or elements of the SEAL process, maybe they've plugged those gaps by now. Maybe that's just what Jocko and them saw it during their time. Maybe it's not like that these days. So yeah, units will adapt, grow, improve, I think, and they're probably no different. Two, but defiantly bad character, or maybe definitely bad character. Sorry. Carl, I recall the prison guards saying they all went by the name Jock and all in black. Yep. Yeah. That's wouldn't be surprising. They're not going to want to use their real names. Probably, I don't know if they had balaclavas on or not. I don't know if that was a necessity in that time. Maybe they didn't, because of the, balaclava then gets ripped and moved across, and then you got one eye or no eyes, and like they're both covered, would make it not very good. Yeah, let's put it that way. E-Baby Secrets, David Mason book written Marching with the Devil, and shows truth what it was like in the French Foreign Legion. Wow, okay. Have you done any oversights on Foreign Legion infamous Jaguar jungle warfare course? I don't know if I had. For some reason, I think I've done a reaction to the French Foreign Legion. I'd have to go back and have a look. Or maybe it was just the stuff that Magnus was doing, which isn't. Well, I shouldn't say that. Like, he's doing some incredible stuff and very challenging, physically demanding stuff. But I don't know if, in that context, that the Legion is doing. I don't know if he's doing the whole process. Like, I don't know how long the selection process takes for the French Foreign Legion. So yeah, maybe there's an opportunity or something that I need to look at there. If you've got a link for this one that you're talking about, I'd be keen to have a look at it. So yeah, cheers, E-Baby Secrets. Solly, I think it was John. Oh, I've missed it because I'm bloody too slow with my reading. Kyle, do a lot of soldiers stay quiet about inquiries during selection? About injuries, sorry. Do a lot of soldiers stay quiet about injuries during selection? Yeah, if you can keep it quiet, you'll keep it quiet. That's been my experience, my observation. Thankfully, I didn't have a lot of injuries on either of my selection courses, but I know of people that have had some pretty bad injuries, and they just kept their mouth quiet, didn't say anything, even to the point whereby they may have been limping, and staff will go, "Are you injured? Are you all right?" And they'll be like, "Oh, no, I'm all right, staff, just legs just a little bit numb, pins and needles. I might have just sat on it a little bit too long." And then that can almost distract the staff, and they go, "What, you sat on it too long? What, you think you got plenty of time? You've been sitting around." So then that can change the whole subject from asking them if they're injured and poking and prodding to, go on a completely different tangent. So candidates are looking to try to stack things in their favour too. So you see some of that stuff play out. But to your question, yeah, a lot of soldiers, my observation, my experience, do keep quiet about injuries when they're on selection. At the same time, there's a number of soldiers that, make no secret of going, I'm injured. I need to see the medic. Can I see the medic? And those ones, more often than not, are the ones that are looking for a way out anyway. So they typically quit, but they are initially looking for a medical removal. So they're looking for a medic or the doctor assigned to say, yeah, you can't carry on. Like, we need to medically remove you, so that they talk about it on the Australian selection. George does a great job of talking about it. So they feel a sense of, they feel better about themselves. Like, oh, I didn't quit. I got removed by the medics because I was injured. It makes them feel a bit better. Lewis B, you have to do a stage of selection if you want to transfer between UKSF units. Yep. That's why James Williamson didn't transfer from SRR to SAS. Okay, cool. I don't know what the stage is between. I would have thought, and this is me not knowing the UK military system, like in Australia as an example, if you're anywhere within the ADF, Army, Navy, Air Force, whatever core trade you are, if you want to go to the Australian SAS, as an example, you used to have to send your application, do a barrier test, which is about 3 days, used to be, and you go through a few basics. It's fairly arduous, but it's not like the selection. It's a bit of an insight. You've got to pass a lot of the same physical tests and all that sort of stuff that you will have to do on selection again anyway, and navigation, a whole bunch of other tasks and assessments taking place, psych evaluation, aptitude testing, etc., etc. So that little piece is done. If you get through that, then you are recommended to go on to, or you used to be recommended to go on to the SASR selection, and or if not suitable, just told, yeah, no. And or potentially might be deemed suitable to go to the commando selection. So that was the process there. In NZ, it's just, again, wherever you are, you put in an application, they'll do their review, you go through. If you meet all the criteria, then you get to go on selection. In the UK, I don't know, because from what I understand, SRR was a pretty high-level unit. I can't remember what it stands for, actually. SRR. Special Recovery or Special Reconnaissance something? I don't know. I didn't know that there was you've got here a transfer. If you're going to you've got to do a stage of selection. I don't know what that means. You have to do a stage of selection if you want to transfer between UK SF units. I would have thought that you got to do the whole selection for whatever that unit is. Because again, I don't know, but I don't know that joining or doing the SRR in the UK, I don't think they do the same UK SF selection. They might do parts of it. I think from what I understand, there's parts of the UK military that do the Brecon Beacons and stuff on their juniors courses and that sort of thing. I think they go into those areas from what I've heard and other different people from the UK forces talking in different videos. But again, I don't know the details of what that is. Solly John MC. Yeah, I don't know that. I think it was John. I don't know. John MC. I recall in the doc SAS, the real story, the prison guard said, if you, John McAleese, is that who you're talking about? Sorry. Guard said, if you ask the names of the SAS soldiers, they all said they were John. Oh, okay, John, not Jock. All right, I'm with you now, I think. Lewis, the only reason Craighead didn't get the VC is technically because he went rogue, according to what Chris said on a podcast. Nuts, eh? Just ridiculous. Because he went rogue. What did he say? Last time I checked, the motto is who dares wins, not who asks permissions wins. Just bloody, that's crazy. I haven't heard that comment that it's he didn't get the VC because he went rogue, but there you go. Like, there's an example. I have no doubt if he was an American, Donald Trump probably would have given him the Medal of Honor. The highest award. Actually, I wouldn't be surprised if Donald Trump did award Christian Craighead the Medal of Honor, for what he did. Whether or not that happens, I'm not saying that will happen, but I, for one, wouldn't be surprised and would not object to Christian receiving the VC or the Medal of Honor, just for his actions and stuff over there. Crazy to think that his own government would say he went rogue. He didn't go rogue. He did what he was trained to do. And he knew the risks. He knew nothing was guaranteed. But if you hear him speak, he felt like, you know, I can't, I wouldn't do it justice trying to describe what it was that he shared. But what I took from it was that he felt like he was invincible and that he was going in there, which is a crazy mindset when you think about it to have, given what he was hearing, given the number of terrorists, which I still don't know how many terrorists there were, but given the number of terrorists that were there, the number of innocent lives that could have got caught in any amount of crossfire, and his mindset going in like, these guys are going to get it. Where's that? That's my... Oh, yeah. I've got to catch up with one of the lads at 2:30, 5 minutes time. Yeah, so anyway, I think that's cool what he's done and should have been recognised way more in terms of, recognition, awards, etc. Eric Deming, Navy SEAL whistleblower, said Navy/SEAL community covered up failures in war by giving awards. Yeah, I've heard some of that. I think I heard some of the Pat Tillman stuff. Don't quote me on that, but I think there's some dodgy or suspect stuff that's gone on there, and the family finding out, nearly 2 months later or whatever. There sounds like there's a whole bunch of stuff. I think the Anti-Hero podcast was covering a lot of that stuff before they separated and before Brent has gone on and is doing his own thing successfully with the Tier 1 podcast. So yeah, that stuff I need to go back and have a look at, which I have still got those on the list back when people were asking me to have a look at that, including the John Chapman Medal of Honor. That footage, I've done a reaction to that. But this is different. This is in terms of people giving commentary who were part of that operation in some way, shape or form. And just some of the, I guess, controversy in and around what was being discussed. Kyle McGowan, sorry, Kyle Morgan. I thought of him as I was, just finished reading about Christian Craighead. Kyle Morgan, another dude, done some cool stuff. Jeremy Clarkson done a documentary about VC recipients who said they wish they never received it, trying to live up to the hype. Yeah, interesting, eh? I mean, valid point, I guess. Like, there's a lot of pressure, a lot of expectation. Like, you're known regardless. Like, you are a celebrity, or if you're not a celebrity, you have celebrity status and presence, whether they like it or not. And that can be a heavy thing to try to live up to. And the other part is, guys that go into that part of the unit have never looked and or wanted to, and have never sought the spotlight, So makes sense to me that some, if not maybe all, might have the thought that they wish they never received it. Sick snipers. Oh, I thought something happened to your eye, but it was the background. No, it could have been. Could have been. Where are we? Hello, brother. Hope all is well. All is well. Thanks for stopping by and dropping that comment. Yeah. My virtual background and the blurriness around there. Yeah, not great, eh? But hey, bear with me. It'll get better. Promise. Clavicular, is that the guy who smashes himself with a hammer to make himself look better? Oh, okay. I don't know the person's name. Maybe, like, if you're talking about that looks maxing rubbish that I got sent and asked to do a reaction to, maybe. Sorry, yeah, if that's what you're talking about. When you said clavicular before, I was like, what the hell is that all about? Did I mention clavicular or something? If that's his name, I don't know. But that's all that stuff, yeah, just looks out the gate to me. So maybe that is his name. I don't know. Joe, did you ever get to meet Nate from Valhalla? No, I haven't. VFT, he talks about working with the Aussie SAS. I have heard him talk about that, and I've heard him say positive things about his experience working with them, but I've not met the guy. Have watched some of his stuff. I haven't watched a lot of his stuff. I have done some reactions to some of his stuff that he shared. But I think that was around the time when I was like, oh man, these different SF elements in the US just going at each other, hammer and tong. I was like, I don't know that I want to get into that. But I think I did a live recently as I've gone through and looking at it, and I thought, well, people have, for whatever reason, people have been interested in my little 2 cents perspective, and I figure, well, I can still just give my take and thoughts without going down the rabbit hole of feeling like, oh, that person is talking a whole bunch of BS because this, that, and the other. I mean, from what I have seen from Valhalla VFT, he looks to try to provide evidence or the receipts, so to speak, in terms of what information and evidence he's got to debunk or to confirm or verify different things that he may be talking about. So, yeah, so I've since, at the risk of sounding like that twat Albanese, I guess you could say I've changed my position. Potentially, I will do some reactions to some of that stuff down the track. Yeah, we'll see how we go. Sorry about all my questions. Do not apologize, Kyle McGowan. Don't apologize at all. Where we got here? Sorry about all my questions, but when you leave the squadron, do you have to sign an NDA? I got asked that question before too, fairly recently. No, I didn't sign no NDA. There was nothing, and if there was, it wasn't made clear to me when I did leave. So yeah, I think there's probably no, yeah, NDA specific. I don't recall that. And if it was, like I said, it wasn't made clear to me. But I think there's probably, Australia, New Zealand, UK, US. I think those countries, military societies, I think by and large, it may be a bit questionable now, but I think by and large, they run like a high trust. They're high trust environments, they're high trust communities, organizations, countries. And so I think there's probably an understanding that people that have gone and served in a place like that, they're probably not going to, divulge all the details and or names of people and things that they've been involved in. Like for me, if I use me as an example, I've openly spoken about some of the stuff, well, by and large, most of the stuff from my selection in NZ and Australia. I don't know if I've spoken too much about what cycle was like in both, but I've given some broad brushstrokes. And my time, at least in terms of, again, probably not in a heck of a lot of detail, of the 2 deployments that I was lucky enough to be on for Timor while with 4RAR and into Iraq in 2003. And then the other stuff has been private security stuff. So on those, like I've spoken for the most part around large chunks of some of those parts, without divulging names and specific grid references of where those things were, but also been open about the fact that there was no weapons of mass destruction and all that sort of thing. So I think my stuff from my time, in terms of operations, nothing in comparison to what the operators and soldiers have been through during that global war on terror for bloody 2 decades. I missed out on that one, but anyway, there's the information. I think that high trust environment and former soldiers having an understanding of, if you think something's going to be like on the boundaries and or something that you shouldn't be talking about, then you just pull back from it. I think I've done that with stuff that I've spoken about, but I'll always do my best to try to answer in a way as best I can in response to whatever the question is. So yeah, your NDA, maybe they've got that stuff now. I would not be surprised if it's more prevalent. Not that I recall it being prevalent during my time, but if it's something that has been introduced, given operations and stuff and the high operational tempo that those countries have been involved in, like probably took a while before Jamie Pinnell, as an example, was able to talk about the Continental incident at the hotel. I assume there's a period of time, because he did everything by the book as well. I think he, spoke with the unit, spoke with whoever other people he needed to speak to before releasing the stuff that he's done. And from what I understand, guys in 2.2 do the same. They go through the MOD, obviously that I'd assume they'd speak with their unit and stuff first, and they try to follow those processes before they go and publicise any books which may have sensitive information about jobs and missions that they may have been on. Where is he? I better just message the bro and say, hey, I will come see you soon. Oh, I got a message from Shubs as well. Maddie, give me 5 minutes. He may be watching the live, maybe not. Let me send that. I'll get to you, bro. I'll wrap this up soon. Deming Awards. Jeremy Clarkson, yeah, did that. I thought something happened. No, read that. Clipper Killer Valhalla NDA. Joe, do you think Spetsnaz takes some of their training a bit too far? Oh, if it's some of the stuff I've seen online, maybe. But hey, if it works for them, I don't know a lot about them. I don't know that anybody knows much about Spetsnaz and their training methodology and techniques and to what level they go, other than what maybe has been put on social media. Whether or not that's legitimate Spetsnaz training or not, again, I wouldn't know. So, E-Baby Secrets, 2 Australian Army soldiers have passed the French Foreign Legion's Elite Jaguar course in French Guiana. This grueling 8-week jungle warfare program, widely considered toughest military courses. Oh, I'm sure it's right up there, eh? Like, I have no doubt, like, that's going to be a sweet ass, bro. I have no doubt that is a hard course. Yeah, there's no denying it. It'll be awesome, though, I reckon. Kyle again, since the Iranian hostage crisis, I always wanted to ask a 2-2 soldier questions. Joe, thanks for making my day. I'm not a 2-2 soldier, just to make that clear. I was a long time ago with the Australian regiment, but never served with 2-2. Didn't do the 2-2 selection either. So just in case, but hey, if it helps in some small way, you asking somebody similar sort of industry or career for a period of time, then cool. I'm glad, mate. Thanks for stopping by. E-Baby Secrets, the course involves surviving the Amazonian forest, handling complex water insertions, brutal final 10-day mission profile where candidates only find out if they pass minutes before the final parade. Yeah, that's a good way of doing it. I think that's pretty similar with the way not all of that stuff, because obviously landscape and environment, New Zealand, Australia, UK is different. UK head over to Belize, I think, Brunei, something like that. So yeah, there's some. They're all hardcores at the end of the day. Where was I going with that? I was going with the you don't find out until the end of that course, and even then, like even when you're extracting, you still have no idea. Have I done enough? Have I performed well enough? What's my report going to be like? Will I still be here? And it's just a nice big sigh of relief when you are still there and you're progressing on to the next stage, which is the next course. Sergeant Matthew Reid, a soldier from the Combat Training Centre's Jungle Training Wing, who became the first Australian to pass the course in mid-2004. Oh, wow, Sergeant Matthew Reid, ranking 18th out of 35 students. That's awesome. Hey, look at that. Respect. That's awesome. Sergeant Matthew Reid. Lieutenant Guy Campbell, an infantry officer from the 1st Battalion, Royal Australian Regiment. Yeah, so would have been in Townsville, I'm guessing, somewhere, if they're still there, who completed the course in early April 2026. Oh, wow. These must be friends of yours, eh? Or maybe they're friends of yours, or you know them. That's just this year. Is that broadcast somewhere, is it? Or is it on YouTube now? Placing 12th out of 17 graduates. That's awesome. Like, wicked to get over there and be on that course. Was that, so they went over to do that specific course as part of what the French Foreign Legion do, or they've gone over, left, and they've joined the French Foreign Legion? What's this? Have you interviewed and done any podcasts on TF Task Force 954 Intercontinental Hotel Suicide Bomb 2000? No, that's what I was talking about. Jamie Pinnell. I'll reach out to the bro and ask him if he'd be interested, and so that we're clear here too. Like, Jamie and I, we're not super tight or close friends. Like, I would have I think I would have gladly been a good friend of his had we been in together at the same time. But he was a senior soldier to me. He was already in battalion before I got there. In fact, I'm pretty sure he was already in support company by the time I got to Victor Company as a Jube. And then he had already done and passed selection and was a badge member in the unit by the time before I even did selection in NZ. So, I heard his name while I was in battalion. We were in the same battalion, but again, different areas. I'd heard his name, heard bits about him in terms of him being a good soldier, and he had a good reputation. Also had quite the reputation for being handy with his fists and being a good boxer. So I'd heard a lot of that stuff about him, but I never worked or served with him directly. I never had an opportunity to build what I would call a strong friendship. I've had where I was invited to a sort of get together where he was there and got to have a bit of a chat with him, and seems like a real down to earth guy, and definitely genuinely seems like somebody that I could easily be friends with. But yeah, when people have asked me, I'm not I don't think Jamie would consider me like a genuine friend, because we just haven't had that connection. So hopefully he'll be open to having a chat with me though, when we get to that stage, because I think I have a lot of respect for him. I think he's a good dude, and so he's done a lot in terms of that particular siege that you're talking about. I didn't know that they were Task Force 954, so thanks for sharing that. But hearing what I've heard about what he's shared in relation to the Intercontinental, like it's incredible. Like, not surprising the way the lads did the job that they did, but yeah, awesome. I've seen Nate from Valhalla VFT trying to explain the Charlie Kirk shot. Oh, okay, yeah, I've seen a few people looking to do that. Were there some operators with glasses? I always wondered how I'd do with the gas masks, maybe inserts. There were operators that wore glasses, but no operators that wore glasses under a gas mask. Yeah, like, I don't know that maybe it's context or whatever that they might have needed to, but the guys that I knew that wore glasses, like, I think it was just more for reading and that sort of stuff, and or maybe because they thought it made them look smarter. Who knows? But I never saw anybody wearing glasses under a gas mask. I don't know of any of the lads wearing contacts under a gas mask either. So yeah, there have been people, like, it has been interesting. I've received that question a lot. A lot of people in terms of asking, they've got potential eyesight issue, or they have to wear glasses. How would that go? I've got what were some of the other questions? Hearing was another one. Like, how strict are they on hearing? I was like, pretty strict, bro. Like, if you can't hear what's coming over the comms, if you can't hear your mate next to you, like, again, you're a liability, and or you're not much help. Well, which is essentially the same thing. You're a liability. Yeah, physical ailments or limitations, like, I would say this: if it's where you want to be and that's where you want to go, put in the application and go. I've shared that with everybody that I've spent the time with that have raised questions like that. Don't look for a reason or an excuse before you even get there, or before you even put an application in. So I've come across people, and it's quite annoying. I've come across people that have said, "Oh yeah, I was going to go on selection, but I couldn't because of this." And I've said, "Did you put an application?" They're like, "Oh, nah, the medic that I spoke with." So not a medic from the unit, not a person from the unit that does the assessment, but a medic from their area in the Defence Force said, "Oh, I don't think you'll be able to even get on selection with this." So they didn't do it. Now, that may be valid. That may have been the reason why. And I've heard Mal Downs talk in his interview with Big Phil Campion. So this is why, I've potentially been a little bit slightly more empathetic, but I still think it's an excuse at the end of the day. But Mal Downs is a young fella. He wanted to go to the SAS, and this, I think, he observed this when he was part of the team in Northern Ireland, and then they got moved out of position because something good was potentially about to happen, and the SAS guys come in. He's like, "Oh, I want to go there." And anyway, I'm giving a retailer here, second, third hand, and I'm probably missing a lot of the details. But he expressed that opinion to one of his teammates, and his teammate said, "You can't go to the SAS in the UK." And he goes, "Why not?" And his mate said, "Because you're black." And that, sadly, for Mel, like, he's like, oh, okay, I can't do it. So he didn't think that he could. Wasn't until later on where, bless him, whoever this officer was, who was in the regiment, come back and said to him, "Oh, I thought you would have been in Hereford by now doing selection or have done selection." He goes, "Oh, I can't do that." He's like, "What do you mean you can't do that?" He goes, "Oh, can't go because I'm black." And so that officer thankfully corrected Mal, because Mal's a weapon, awesome dude, and he went. So, potentially the words that people say, the medic in this case, in terms of scenarios and conversations that I've had with people who have said that they didn't go because of that, that may have been the case. But I just, don't take somebody else's word for it, is where I'm going with it, and is what I've shared with them and what they shouldn't have done. If you don't hear it from the horse's mouth, if you don't hear it from the unit themselves, then everything else is just noise. Like if that's where you want to go, and this is in specific in relation to the regiment, obviously, but apply that to anything. All right. Apply that to whatever it is that you're looking to do. Even then, if it's still where you want to be, are you prepared and are you willing to continue to push and stay on that path and on that journey, regardless of what somebody else says? So that's my take on that one. Mars Australia are getting people trained up for jungle warfare skills. Yeah, there's some interesting and cool stuff over there. To then teach at Tully in Queensland is having a more focus on Southeast Asia country focus. Do soldiers still pass away? eBaby Secret, so thanks for that. Do soldiers still pass away during training? Said he's seen a guy lose his head when soldiers, as a joke, were handcuffed to the train tracks. Oh, holy heck, I never heard of that. Pass away during training. Yeah, soldiers do. Sadly, you just had the Australian SAS guy who passed away during a training exercise parachuting. Lachlan Muds, that's just recent, been all over the news. So, soldiers, yes, dare I say, more soldiers pass away in training typically, or at least from the regiment's perspective, than they have on operations, or than they were, or than they then did on operations. So, yeah, but you don't need to be SF to have the potential to die in training. Sadly, it does still happen. Kyle McGowan. I spoke with TF954. They were based at Camp Warehouse, Kabul. NZSAs were assigned to train the crisis response unit. Yep, the Afghan commandos, Kabul SWAT. Yeah, Jamie talks a bit about that. So cool that you got to meet some of them, bro. Anyway, I'm going to drop off this. Wow, that's been a long, long chat. I've enjoyed it. Push back to next week. No, I'm going to jump on now. So I'm going to leave you fellas to it. But appreciate your time. Thank you for the comments, the questions, the support. And as always, man, any challenges, difficulties you may be going through, keep turning up, keep staying in the fight, put one foot in front of the other, take one day at a time. Know and trust that things can do and will get better if you want them to, but you do have to want them to. Otherwise, you probably just stay in that same miserable place that you may be in. The sun will shine again, and there is a light at the end of that tunnel, and those better days are always closer than you and I think, so just stick at it. Anyway, that being said, as always, go always a little further. Remember, who dares wins and who cares wins. And until the next video, there is a big mana wave coming from me to you, filled with my aroha, respect, appreciation, and gratitude for you all. That probably makes me look all blurry too with the virtual background. Anyway,